Spoilers of the Damned.
Hello and welcome to Spoilers of the Damned podcast, episode number 16. My name is Tom. I'm sufficiently unwell. This is Chris and Matt, my friends.
Hello.
Hi.
That's them. Welcome to our podcast, where today we're going to be talking in a little while about Jacob's Ladder. So there'll be huge spoilers for that movie, and pretty much everything that's inspired by that movie, including the Silent Hill series. I don't know, lots of other things. So,
a lot of things.
many things. So we suggest you go and watch that movie. It's a pretty good movie.
We also suggested you watch it in the last podcast, so you've got plenty of time to have watched the movie.
So you can't
Yeah,
complain.
to be honest, considering the gaps between podcasts as well, we've been kind of having unofficial hiatuses all over the place.
Yeah, exactly. So you have no excuse to have not watched the movie.
So yeah,
I will say, though, our form is that we go away for a long time and then we come back and do like a 4-hour podcast.
So you're all in for the long haul.
Strap in, guys.
Strap in.
Get a
Seatbelts, pack a lunch.
What are you doing, honey? Oh, I'm packing my lunch because of the podcast. Where's my
You're
lunch?
using all of the extra crunchy peanut butter. What's wrong with you?
It's going to be a long one.
I'm seeing a guy in like a business suit, like loosening his collar. It's like late at night. It's overtime. He's like, honey, come home. I can't. I'm still listening to the podcast.
I'm already this deep in. I can't just stop it now.
Yeah. Too far
Please,
gone.
I got mouths to feed.
Right. So
Yeah,
horror
welcome
stuff.
to the podcast.
Matt, any horror stuff this week?
Yeah.
What have I been doing? I've been trying not to go crazy at work. That's one thing.
It's on topic.
Yeah.
What have I been doing that's horror related? Let me think. I finished Attack on Titan. I mean, it's kind of like horror.
It certainly
Lots of
is horror. I
It's
think.
horrific when
You finished it up. They're still making it, right? So you're up to date.
I'm up to date now. Yeah, it's season
Okay.
3 is out next April. So I got a bit of a scare when one of my favorite characters nearly died, but because the commander is such a badass, he carries on. Despite what happens to him, because it's only just finished, so it's quite recent. Something happens to him, and I thought, oh shit, he's dead. One of my favorite characters is dead, and then he comes back anyway, which made me mark out like a child because he's so cool. So I finished that. That was good. And horror related. No, I'm just trying to deal with the ever-changing weather because it's crazy.
Yes, me and Matt remarked on our Twin Peaks episode we recorded in the week that we couldn't possibly talk about the weather. We had to save it for Chris when we saw Chris.
Yeah,
You
because
you can see me? I am not wearing pants, so I mean,
I see everything.
oh no!
No, it's
How is the weather in Tennessee?
Yeah.
It was balls hot the last couple weeks. Yesterday though, super good. Like I opened the door and it's like, is that a cool breeze? Holy shit! Did someone open a Coors Light around here or something like that? Silver
Open
bullet. It was really, really nice yesterday. I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh, maybe the fever, the world's fever has broken and temperature has come back to normal, and maybe fall is starting. I don't know, because it's almost August. It might even be August.
It's not quite.
It's
August
July
yet.
30th.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
I have
Tuesday
definitely
should be
time dated this podcast. But what year?
Yeah, exactly. Cut it out.
We have had torrential rain here. It's been literally to the point of creating ponds in my back garden, which are not pleasant.
It's irritating because it's what it keeps doing is at one point it can be really, 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 really hot, and then suddenly it's cold.
Yeah.
When
And
I
it
was
rains.
I was at LARP not last weekend, the weekend before, and we were in Stoke, but during the day it was boiling hot to the point where you were just standing there sweating, and then all of a sudden it rained a little bit and it was freezing cold. So everyone was a bit, oh god, I'm so just bereft of strength
I
because
saw
it's
some
like
of those
hot,
pictures
cold.
with your uniform, and yeah, you're wearing like a massive coat under that, right?
Yeah, it's so badass.
It looks badass, but the whole time I'm, as a big person who runs hot in December, I'm just looking at you going, oh my goodness, I'd melt.
It was surprisingly cool, actually. During the battle on the Sunday, it was actually surprisingly cool. And I didn't die, so, you know.
Oh, there you go.
Well, that is good.
Yeah, I mean,
nearly died.
Otherwise, you wouldn't be here today.
Precise.
Exactly.
Yes. Exactly. We don't use real weapons,
Actually,
honestly.
Chris, I don't know if you know, but Matt never made it out of LARP. He died there. He put up a hell of a fight, though.
Yeah, I did. This is
all
my
his dream.
This is my disembodied voice. I recorded this before I died.
Yeah.
And it's like, so it was perfect. So that's right,
it's
Chris.
Perfect, actually. Yeah.
Yes, Tom, I agree.
I'm doing a motherfucking brilliant edit job because Matt just gave me these lines of dialogue that made no sense, and I've cut them up and put them in place so they make sense.
Is correct, Tom.
Mr. Black.
But yeah, I remember seeing those pictures on Facebook because I mean, yeah, you're head to toe dressed out, and I'm at work, you know, in a factory, and it's like super hot, and I'm like taking off my arm guards, and like I don't wear any gloves anymore. I'm wearing a cooling headband, which is actually really cool, pun intended. You just like stick it in cold ice water, and then it absorbs the cold ice water, and then you just press the cold ice water against your head, and it stays there because of the way the spongy jelly material that's in there works.
Yeah, they're really good. You can get them on your neck as well. Yeah, they're
yeah,
really
you can
cool.
put it around your neck. Yeah, exactly. It feels like an airport like neck pillow, but it just like you can lean back against it and it's cool all the time.
Those are good.
Oh my god! So I can only imagine what it'd be like to wear even fake full armor in that weather. It'd be insane.
Yeah, I'm not wearing that coat at the event in August, so I was like, yeah, I'm good. I don't want to die.
Yeah,
like, literally, I want to melt.
So, I mean, I am curious about the LARP thing. I mean, you're head over heels with the LARP thing, and I can't understand it because the only interaction I've ever had was that YouTube video where some guy in a robe is throwing like foam balls at somebody and going fireballs, or lightning bolt, lightning bolt, and I'm like, no, it's way more fun with just tabletop dice and imagination.
Oh yeah, but when you really get into it, it's a lot of fun because especially when there's the tavern, which is really good. It's like, I can drink all the ale, and I could just get drunk and roleplay being drunk as well. This is great.
Yeah,
that does sound fun.
I've been robbed and killed.
Like, what's the rule on like fantastical shit? Because I have seen like ogres and stuff in your pictures.
If you've got like you have to have the required like physical representation of it, or phys rep as they call it. So if you're like, I'm playing an ogre, you can't just turn up with a bit of mud on your face and go, I'm an ogre. It's like, no, you have to like wear a bit more like false teeth, or there's like a guy I know called Chris has had this really cool fake beard thing that also had like this massive row of like this big jaw with sharp teeth on like his made him like
I saw that
like
picture
a big
actually.
Yeah, so you have to like look like that. So you have to look the part. So it's quite fantastical. You just have to make it look right. You can't turn up in like modern day gear. It's just like fuck out this shit. It's like basically like kind of Game of Thrones like looking stuff. Really, if I'm trying to, I don't know, because it's like a mixture. You've got people that are like it's very like Celts, like the Celts, Scottish. There's like Nordic stuff. There's like a faction that are just basically like they worship like Loki and Thor and all the Norse gods.
Yeah,
there's Teutonia, which is kind
cool.
of like Teutonia, like kind of like Romanesque, like in terms of how they look.
So you can kind of think up your own thing and then find a group that does that and kind of fall in and stuff.
Yeah, essentially. So
nice.
So explain magic then. I'd like to know more about the magic. I mean, is it really like foam balls and lightning bolts, or is it just like is there like a rule set for damage? I don't understand.
You can't just go lightning bolt, and anything like that. You have to because I've never actually played a magic user, but I've obviously been hit by plenty of magic. What you have to do is you have to like recite like an incantation. Like, depending on what kind of level, like kind of school of magic it is. So if it's like corporeal, you have to like a certain thing. If it's necromantic, some incantation, then you go I hit you with a magic missile, and you like point at the person, and then if they're not sure, you go you with the red scarf, and they go, oh, it's me. Fuck, I've been hit. Unless you got like magic resistance, which basically you just turn and say no. No. Denied. Or there's another spellcaster nearby. It's like I counter that, and you basically have like magic cards and you rip them. What's funny is when you're attacking a monster, and they have like magic, and it was me and someone else from a different faction who I'm quite friendly with out of the game, and I'm very friendly in character in those like in a different group. And we were basically we were approaching them, and they cast magic on us. and we both had magic resistance, and they didn't notice we had magic resistance. And I've never seen monsters look so frightened in their entire life as these two large gentlemen with swords and shields came running towards them. No effect. Fuck. So it's quite funny. It gets a bit chaotic sometimes in the battles though, when you're like, you have to like stop and you're like, you pointing at me? And they're like, no, the guy next to you, like, she got nudge him. It's like, you fucking fall over. So
okay,
yeah,
so you guys all kind of police yourselves as far as your rules go, because you're all like really interested in continuing and progressing the story or whatever it is you guys do.
Exactly. So and then there's always like refs walking around as well in white tabards.
Okay, yeah, cool. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Somebody who's like objective and making sure that the rules are being played out.
Yeah, because like cheaters.
It looks to me like, I mean, 'cause I played D&D before, and it gets chaotic when it's just like, look, guys, the paper says this is what happens. Yeah, but I found a rule in the subsection, and then just shut the fuck up. You know, we don't need that. So it looks like with LARPing, it seems like it's just like a pile of people who are cosplaying, and then like I imagine. And I'm not trying to offend, but I imagine, like, when people play pretend as children, it's like, no, you didn't do that. Yes, I did. And then, like, somebody fights. But if there's refs, then I'm like, okay, there's some sort of thing at play there.
There is.
But I still want to go back to the other question, like, because you know something about the magic system. Is there damage involved? Like, could somebody actually absorb a lightning bolt and then continue to play, or do they absolutely have to fall over dead? Does it matter what spell they use, or, you know what I mean?
Some spells have, like, different levels of damage. I think there's like exalted magic, which is big scary magic, and that one, I think one of the exalted magic ones is like lightning bolt, which does 2 points of damage to every location. Because the thing is you have 1 hit per location anyway. When like right away before you like start like picking skills and that. So you've got basically no matter how many hits you've got, if your chest or head goes down to 0, you have to drop and start your death count, which you count up to 2 minutes. If no one heals you in that time, or starts healing you in that time even, you're dead. That's it. But if you wear an armor, obviously, then the armor gives you more hits. But spells go through armor, so that's why a lot like the heavies, you'll see we have like coloured things like sashes, like tied to our costumes, because that's to display that we've got body dev, which is like an extra point of natural armor. So I've got like 2 plus my armor, which is then 5 hits per location. But obviously, if someone goes magic missile on me, it's like, ow, that's just hit me like right in the chest or whatever. Like that's done 1 straight away. Some magic does 2, which like lightning bolt's just like, you fall over now.
Yeah,
like, get on the ground. But it's good because not most of the players, I'd say about 95% of the players, take the hits and they don't cheat. And because it's fun for the monsters. And it's also, it makes it dramatic for the players, and it's cool.
Dude, I'd want to be a healing mage, because like you'd be friends with everyone.
Oh yeah. There's nothing scary though when you're in a big fight and you hear your healer say, "We're out of magic." Like,
Oh shit!
Oh no. You do get surgeons as well, but it's still really scary. But yeah, I'd say about 95%, maybe even higher, of people like they're good sports, like because they want to enjoy the game and they want to make it fun for everyone else. Because it sucks when your character dies, but if your character goes out in a good way and you were playing a really good character, people really miss them. Like,
okay.
You know, if you leave and then you're like, I'm going to make a character in this faction, then it's even more of a loss because that person is like, you barely see them OC at the camp, really.
Yeah, I imagine it's like that in D&D as well. From what I've never actually played D&D, but you know what I see online and stuff. People talk about epic characters, and then when they're gone, you miss them, and some new guy comes along, and you're like, who the fuck are you?
It's not the same, but yeah, I'd say about 95-96%, maybe a lot higher. Good sports. Some people cheat, but that's why it's good that the refs there, because because you know sometimes the refs will come over and say, "Do you know you just got hit with like 3 magic missiles?" You're like, "Shit, no, I didn't hear it." Sorry. And they're like, "Okay, we'll just let you know." I'm like, "Okay, I better fall over now." Ah,
I better fall over now. Nice.
My friend was he wore like real clank, like real plate, which is really heavy, and he got hit in the back with 3 or 4 arrows, and arrows go through armor as well. And he only had like 1 body dev, so he should have dropped. So he thought he heard something. He was like, "What the fuck was that?" And he looked down and he saw these arrows on the ground, and he saw a ref looking at him, and he looked at the ref and said, "Did those hit me?" And I went, "Yeah, all 4 of them hit you in the back." He went, "Oh, thanks," and then just fell over. Fell. It's like, cheers, boom.
Yeah.
So, but if like the refs like see you like and you're you are actively cheating, they will say stop that. You are not taking your hits, and they'll like say you're not pulling your blows because that can be dangerous as well. I mean, no, you know, don't mean like you don't have to like lightly tap people, but it's like full on thwacking them around the head is just stupid because you're gonna hurt someone. But what's happened in the past, which is really funny, is if someone's cheating, they'll either go and they'll like reprimand them, and then the player will go, "Oh, sorry, I didn't realize I didn't hit that many times." Blah 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 blah. Or if they go up and say you're not taking hits, and they go, "Oh, okay, sorry," and then they continue to not take their hits, and the rest I can give them like two chances, like, look, take your hits because I'm watching you and you're not taking them, because you should be over by now. You've been hit like 10 times in the head. What they'll do is sometimes they get annoyed. And then they go, and then you'll be monstering because you die, and then you go back to a respawn point, and then they say, okay, you go back in, and then you like another wave of like orcs or undead, which is very exciting. But sometimes you get back, and there's always like a big scary grizzly that has like 100 hits global, which means like 100. You have to hit him like 100 fucking times.
Yeah.
And sometimes they do that, and they're like, okay, so so it's like my friend Lloyd plays like a lot of like the big grizzlies when he's monstering. He goes, like, come over here. So you're 100 hits global, and he goes, cool. And he went, normal weapons can't hurt you. This form of magic can't hurt you. You're resistant to this. You're resistant to this. You have through, which means always attacks go through armor. If you obviously, unless you hit the shield, it doesn't count. But if you hit their armor, it goes through their armor. You have wounding, which is basically drop, just fall over. Bitter kiss and shit like that. And he's like, okay. And he went, go and get him. And the Dungeon Boss like, because that guy is cheating. You just go and get him.
Okay.
Yeah, right. Because they're getting pissed off
see.
with him. It's like a big grizzly will come through, like knocking people that way with like strength or something.
Oh, nice. I see.
Target the chin. Like,
so they use the players to enforce the rules in that case. That's cool.
It's like, don't fucking cheat.
Yeah.
Make it fun. Like, you know.
Well, I mean, like I said, I played D&D, and like there's always like the stigma with the dice. Like everyone has to have the dice visible because nobody seems to trust each other, and that might just be my experience.
No, I get that. I know what you mean.
I would want to see the dice as well.
Yeah,
but I got a 20 again. That's 20.
Yeah.
5 times in a row.
Isn't that weird how you get like a natural 20 like 5 times in a row? But like if you and if Tom and Matt and I if we're all playing together D&D, and I would like to just trust people, right?
Yeah.
So it's like if I was behind the DM screen and I rolled, and I would be like, "You're dead," and I don't want anybody being like, "You should show me the dice," and I'd be like, "Really?" Because I mean, I'm not trying to kill you. I'm not trying to. And I'm sorry. It makes me sad too that you died. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah,
I mean,
that's the thing. Is like a DM does not want to kill players because the DM wants them to get through the campaign.
Right. Otherwise, why draw up the campaign at all?
Exactly. Like my I mean, obviously, dying is part of it, but what they don't want is a TPK.
Yeah, total party.
A DM doesn't want, because like, you know, in the past, like Lloyd, who DMs at the club I go to on a Saturday, sometimes like he's like, okay, so you fight. It's like a really tough fight, and he goes, it's going to attack like this guy called Josh. And he's like, Josh, it's going to attack you, and he rolls in, and you just see him go, oh fuck. He goes, oh fuck, and then he just lifts the DM's board, and you can just see like 220. So he's
wow!
Oh fuck's sake!
Yeah,
and they go, oh, and he go, I'm going to roll the damage. And he rolls, he's like, oh, for fuck's sake.
I'm afraid you're dead.
He's like, oh, what's your con modifier?
Yeah. Do you have one hit point?
Oh, shit. So, yeah. But, yeah, the players usually police it themselves. So.
Okay. That's really cool to hear. I mean, it sounds like a lot of fun, but it sounds like before you get into LARPing, or at least maybe before I got into LARPing, because I can really only speak to myself, of myself, I would have to like drop a lot of walls, you know, and like let imagination happen. Oh,
it's very the first event I ever went to, I was absolutely like taken aback and I was petrified because, you know, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, once you really get into it, it's really cool escapism because, you know, you essentially just go away for a weekend.
Mm-hmm. Literally, in your mind and physically, you're going away for a weekend.
Because you haven't got no phones, obviously, because it's all like high fantasy. So yeah, it's good. It's really good fun. In fact, they got like a tavern and like a food court that they prop up as well, and they build stuff. It's just really cool.
Is it catered?
Dude, I would be the equivalent of hot pie. I would just be in the tavern, drinking, making food.
Well, that's the thing. Like some people just play like traders. You don't even have to play like a combat character. Some people just play traders. It's literally all like alchemists.
That's TRADERS,
coin?
not TRAITORS. Some people play people who betray all the time. It's crazy.
Betrayers. You get people who just play alchemists and stuff like that.
Do they mix Pepsi?
Cool.
It's a special brew. But yeah, it's really cool escapism, and I love it. I mean, there's like most things, there's always gonna be a couple of dickheads.
Right.
No, everyone's lovely. No, most of the people there that I've met are absolutely lovely, and you get a couple of people and it's like, don't like you, don't talk to me. You're just being a dick to me out of character for no reason, and I don't appreciate that, so you can go over there, go fuck off.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like there's a lot of those people in the D&D universe.
Oh, yeah.
Like whenever I played, there was always that one guy who wants to min-max their character to such a point that they sort of break the rules.
Yeah, and it's like, well, you get like, you're playing like, it's like, I'm the fighter, you're the cleric, that guy's the paladin, and then you got like the warlock or the wizard, and then you got this one guy that comes in, he's like, he min-maxes his character, so the fighter and the cleric are just like, and the paladin, all three of them just like, well, we're kind of useless now because you basically min-max it so much that you're doing our role. You basically, carrying out our roles and doing them better. Like,
yeah, I'd imagine if you put all of your stats at, I've never played D&D. I would like to, but I'd imagine if you put all of your stats, say you put every single stat you ever get into, I don't know, like what's the equivalent of, like in Fallout, you're like your perception or your talk, like you can talk to people and persuade them.
Charisma.
Yeah. So say you put absolutely everything into that, surely like 99% of encounters, you could just say, I just try to persuade them, I roll and do it.
A natural
So
20 to
fight.
bluff check, and they think I have a nuclear missile now.
Yeah.
My favourite is when you get the guy has the really high con modifier, like really high, and can basically it can roll success on like a 5 or a 6. And it's like a really important moment, and they roll a 1, like a nat 1.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck.
It's just the equivalent of them like going, blah, 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 blah.
Like I really like the randomness with die rolls, like the 1s and the 20s, the natural 1s and natural 20s, which is a critical fail or a critical hit. Just for anyone who's not able to follow along with our lingo, I just want to make sure I detail what we're talking about.
That's a good point, actually.
But there was
I've
like a
never held
time
20-sided dice.
You really haven't? It's nice. It's a good feeling. It feels like you're holding power. But I was playing a D&D game with my cousins and some friends, and like my cousin was like, I'm just going to make a Conan character, big, strong, quiet type. And he was trying to walk into a building, and then there was a guy standing in the doorway saying, no, you can't walk into the building. And I was like, make a strength check if you want to try to move him out of the way. He rolls a natural 1. So you imagine, like, it's hard to role play the idea of Conan being like, I just can't do this. Like, he's a rock. Is he even a human being, or is he a statue? He's just so fucking hard to move.
Like, you've been, you're exhausted from your travels.
Yeah, you're exhausted. Sudden wave, a sudden heat stroke just strikes you, and you just can't even stand, really. It's all you can do to hold your balance. Wait till the next round.
You realise, instead of trying to move the man, you're actually trying to move the statue next to him.
You try to push the house away from the person instead of the person away from the house.
Yeah, that's because you put like all of your stats in strength and none in perception. So you like talk to signs and stuff.
So, but yeah, LARPing sounds relatively cool and almost impossible for me to be able to do, because it would require, like I said, so many walls. Poor perceptions of other people, that kind of stuff. I'd have to really let myself go and LARP, and that's horrifying.
It's like I said, it was really, really scary for me the first time, but it's good because the sites they use for the bigger events, they're out in like scout camps essentially. So you can't see any traffic, you can't see cars. The only time you can see like vehicles, and that's when you go out of character area to like your tent or something.
Yeah,
but when you're in
that sounds good. They they seclude you from all of that stuff, which just helps with the believability.
And it's really cool. The best site is called Packar's Scout Camp in Gerrards Cross, which is just outside of London, which is where they do the first major event of the year, and then the last one, like the season finale, which is the one in August, called Renewal. And they do it at Packar's, and it's such a good site. Like, it's such a big site, and the battlefield that they use, like the glade they use for the battlefield, is just fucking huge. And it's and because the thing is like they obviously use the same sites every year, but they move around where each faction is. Things are set up slightly different, so it always feels different as well. It feels unique each time.
Yeah. Because
if you're in the same location every time, then it's supposed to be like, oh, this time we're in Cornwall, like where Albion, like there's this faction called the Lions, which are like the Knights of Albion, like Knights of the Round Table, and honour and respect. And you're like, you're full of shit, but which is good. Like I mean, is in ISC, it's like, oh, you're all full of shit. You're just as bad as us. So like they'll be. In one that we're supposed to be, we're in Albion, but all the factions are all set up exactly the same way as they were when we were in like Syria or something, Serbia. It's like when we were in Serbia, like with the Jereg, like, everyone's in the same place. It's weird. Like, everything's set up the same as well, even though we're in a different country. So yeah, that helps as well when it's like all moved around.
That's cool.
It's fun. It's a lot of fun. It's very tiring.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds very words. It sounds very words. Invest something you have to invest yourself a lot in. Exhausting? I don't know anymore.
I would say it's probably a better use of time than what I used my time for this week, which is I've been watching The Mist, the television show.
Of course.
Oh.
And there are 6 episodes out now as of this recording, and I've seen all 6 episodes. We've all seen The Mist, haven't we? The movie.
The movie, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we'll probably cover it on the podcast at some point eventually anyway, but spoilers for The Mist, TV show and film. It's kind of been frustrating me. It sort of a mini review is they've kind of based it around this town full of people, and all these people have kind of like problems and interpersonal connections. In fact, the whole episode, the mist was only visible for about, 10 seconds, maybe 20 seconds total, just rolling towards this town occasionally.
Yeah, really frightening.
And meanwhile, we kind of learned about all this kind of like high school drama shit, and there was like somebody did a sexual assault, and he's a football player, so it's like, ooh, topical, we get it. Building up this kind of like, so that when the mist rolls in, like 5 minutes in, people are going to be like, hey, you're talking shit about my son, and so all these kind of interpersonal relationships will kind of just become much worse because they're under stress.
They'll become expressed.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, I like this series. I think that some of the effects are god-awful bad. You can tell that they've got a low budget, which is kind of ironic because for something like The Mist, you don't need a lot. You can hide a lot in the fog.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really make sense to me why they've got to spend out on these rather strange, elaborate effects. Like, for instance, there's this one guy who he's trapped in a church with one pocket group of people. Incidentally, I will say that people move around in the mist a lot easier than they do in the film.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah,
basically,
the mist should just be a last resort.
Yeah, if you're a main plot character, you can you can go in and out the mist as you please. That's fine.
Fucking plot armor.
Yeah.
So there are these pockets of people, and they are kind of, the pockets slowly change as people make their way from pocket to pocket. But in the church, there's this one guy who was like I don't know if he was a convict or just like an asshole or something. He was just like a weird character. And there's this old lady who you'd think she's like the opposite of Mrs. Carmody from the movie. You know how Mrs. Carmody was all like church.
Yeah.
Blood.
Yeah, she's like the main antagonist really of the film.
Yeah, basically, exactly. She was the villain. Awesome too.
Well, it's kind of like an inverse where this woman is she's watching nature around them, and kind of she's saying, look, this is nature wiping us out. And she's in a church full of people who are going, oh God this, God that, and she's like, no. So it's kind of like, you can see how it's an inverse kind of character, which is okay enough. But she decides that she's going to walk off into the mist and commit suicide by mist.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So she told us off, and this guy runs out to stop her. He turns her around, and then he goes, my back. He pulls this shirt off, and he's got like this big like moth tattoo on his back. And then this moth comes out of the tattoo and like rips his skin open, and there's wings and everything.
What?
It's kind of okay. It was kind of cool. The effect was really bad.
Yeah, I'm
not going to say I could do better, but 10 of me in a room with After Effects could probably do the same in about a week.
But I mean, you think as well, because it's one of the things about the film is that because of the use of the mist, it allowed them to hide some of the faults, not faults so much, but they were able to hide the effects so much they looked less CGI and ropey. Like you know what I mean? Like so
yeah.
They were able to like what's the word I'm looking for? Shit, I'm trying to think of the word. But yeah, if there was no mist, you'd look at it and go, oh, that's a CGI spider.
Yeah.
Whereas in that,
but it kind of
obscured.
obfuscates in a way that makes it look realistic because you can't see all of it. So the rough edges get kind of like shaved off.
Yeah. Exactly.
And yeah, it's the mist is really annoying. Basically, the thing I was saying to Matt before we started recording, Chris, is that you know how in the movie, the mist toes this very fine line between being something very science fictional in terms of like a dimension or a universe kind of like opening up and these weird creatures coming out. It's all based in science.
Yeah.
Obviously science above what we can comprehend, but still science.
It's like they've like seeped in almost.
It's almost like Half-Life.
Yeah,
exactly,
like that.
Half-Life.
Where something happens and it's allowed these things to kind of like pour through into our world, which would make sense why the mist has just appeared out of nowhere as well.
Right.
Well, and it had this thing where the mist will kind of fuck with you, but it will always be kind of like these organisms and monsters.
Yes.
I can now clarify 100% that the mist is supernatural. There are no science fiction elements to it at all. It's got weird, ghosty, spooky men in the fog. It's got monsters that come out of people. It's got people who see their dead mothers brought back to life in front of them, physically to touch. Some people, the main character, for instance, in the last episode, there was this kind of cool idea. You could tell they kind of have cool ideas in the writing room, so they start writing it, and then they kind of don't know what to do with it. So they're in this hospital with one of the main characters, and this main character comes across a doctor who is essentially, people have been disappearing inside the hospital. This doctor's been taking them, and he's been putting them out into the mist, and he kind of justifies to himself saying, oh, these people had terminal illnesses of some kind, we wouldn't be able to keep them alive much longer, so I used them for science. And basically he's been kind of like putting them outside the front door and watching and waiting to see what happens and observing it. He's trying to make some kind of like scientific discovery about the mist, which is a cool idea.
Yeah.
So he says to the main character, well, now you've seen me, I have to. He subdues him and he shoots him full of tranquilizers and says, I'm going to watch what happens to you if I put tranquilizers in you, because this guy's already worked out that the mist kind of like brings up your worst fears and kind of manifests them in some way. It's 100% supernatural.
Sounds more like, it really does sound more like Silent Hill than The Mist.
It does, and so he puts the main character in this kind of like these double doors, so he can shut one door and open the other to the outside. So he opens it to the outside to the mist, and this guy is obviously like he's on, I think, ketamine or something, to be completely spaced out. And he sees this owl like staring at him, and then he turns to his right and he sees himself like standing over himself, and I was thinking, we're in kind of Twin Peaks territory here, except obviously Twin Peaks Light, not very good version of Twin Peaks, especially with the owl, and then the kind of the having a doppelganger character. So it's kind of like everything in the TV series of The Mist is something you've seen done something better elsewhere.
Oh no! I just realised it sounds more like Galaxy of Terror. Oh no!
Yeah.
Where are the worms? Bring out the worms.
Instead of pyramid, it's we've had leeches, we've had cockroaches, we've had moths.
Any of them specifically horny?
Not that I could tell.
Not that you could tell. All right, good. They're not going to cross that line.
There was a rather wooden sex scene between two of the main characters who were so emotionless that perhaps they could have been some form of worm, like life form. But other than that, nothing.
Are you sure?
We really don't know what we're doing.
You sure those characters weren't actually the master? The master.
Did they have red face?
They could have both simultaneously been the master. No, they did not.
Okay.
I will say that there was no red face involved. I have seen a guy with a face covered in leeches going, "Shoot me!" That was pretty cool. See, this is what I keep coming back to. Is just this series is lots of cool ideas, but kind of middling execution. I will watch probably until they finish making it, and I think it's going to be another Under the Dome. I don't see this getting past 3 seasons.
No.
I didn't watch past I watched 2 or 3 episodes into season 2 of Under the Dome and gave up. And this is from a Stephen King Die Hard. So,
Yeah, that's never a good sign.
yeah, I mean, other TV I've been watching this week is The Strain. That's come back for its 4th and final season. You guys familiar with The Strain?
I know of it. I just never watched it.
Don't know. Don't care.
It's Guillermo del Toro's Vampires, basically.
So my uncle told me about how some of the characters talk, and I just laughed.
Yeah, it's again, it's been a show of middling quality. I would say it's better than The Mist. And they're on their final season, and basically at the end of the last season, the most universally hated character detonated a nuke and sent everyone into nuclear winter. So
What?
yeah, well, the character I'm talking about is this kid called Zach. He's the main character's son, and basically, long story short, the vampires are like an ancient race of like parasitic things, and there's one guy called the Master who's decided he's going to take over. He didn't have a red face, but he was called the Master.
Boo!
And he's been grooming this kid Zach, and Zach has been really annoying the whole time. He's made stupid decisions. He's kind of like shouted at his dad when his dad is actually trying to save him from a bloodthirsty vampire that's trying to take over the world. He tries to save his son again, and his son hits the nuclear button and literally blows up a nuke.
What the fuck? What?
But this final season, it's kind of like, because they've been told it's the final season, you've got to wrap it up because we're not paying for another season of this. So the writers have kind of gone, okay, flex his knuckles, we can do what we like now. So
post-apocalyptic.
Yeah.
yeah, it's fun and enjoyable. It's campy fun. I will say with each season, it's got progressively worse, but it's still better than The Mist.
Oh, fair enough. I think it was my uncle said he watched the first couple episodes, and there was a really funny line where someone was, I can't remember exactly what it was, but they said something like that this place is dank and lifeless, like a plane without passengers, or something, something stupid like that. It's like, oh my god.
Well, that's how the Master makes it to New York City. He gets flown on a plane, and everyone dies. With like basically the vampires are kind of they're called strigoi, and they're kind of like, I don't know, like some weird Russian cave vampire that's kind of like, it's kind of parasitic, like a zombie almost. If you get one of these like hundreds of little worms inside your skin, they'll take over you and make you into a strigoi. So it's kind of like and then you become an underling to the Master. The Master can control you, and you're no longer you anymore.
This is where you said like he gets on a plane to get to New York, and like all I can picture is the Master from Buffy the Vampire Slayer just queuing at like American Airlines, getting on an American airline flight or something like Washington.
Right?
He's just standing there like going, oh, come on, I just want to get to New York. I want to rule the world.
Yeah, right.
Come on.
He's sort of like walking through the airport, like, do I go to Wendy's or McDonald's?
Like, oh, they got TGI.
Just in closing though, I will say, if you like Guillermo del Toro's work, like Hellboy or let me think, Pan's Labyrinth, this is not as good as that, but it's still fun. It's still visually very interesting. It's got some nice ideas. It's got vampires. It's got the SS and like obviously World War II and Nazis in it. So yeah, it's a good time.
Oh, okay.
Now that it's wrapping up, you can catch up for the finale or something. It's got Samwise Gamgee in it as well. It's what's his name?
Sean Astin.
Yeah,
Sean Astin.
It's his
otherwise
fault.
known as Samwise Gamgee.
What the hell? So I'm looking it up now. I think it's only in the first series, but Peter Weller directed some of the first season's episodes, as in RoboCop. RoboCop directed The Strain. He directed episode 5, 6. What the fuck, man? 12. Peter Weller? What the hell? They were directed by RoboCop. What is this?
Kind of what. Speaking as someone who hasn't really seen any of the RoboCop movies, I don't want to upset anybody, but it does kind of fit in terms of being kind of schlocky, over the top, kind of like sci-fi horror.
I mean, but when I say RoboCop, I mean as in the actor.
Oh,
the director.
Wow.
Okay, yeah. I was like, I don't care about the director of RoboCop, and why does he keep saying RoboCop did it? It's not RoboCop, it's the director. No, RoboCop, you really mean RoboCop,
actual
though.
RoboCop.
Yeah, Peter Weller, yeah.
Actual RoboCop.
Robert.
RoboCop
Alex Murphy
Alpha.
himself. Oh, I love Peter Weller. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I might, if I can find it on Netflix or something at some point, I might give it a watch. I mean, there's only like 13 or 10 episodes a season, isn't there? So
Yeah, something like that.
I'm glad that they
The
don't do
main
that
selling point, I completely forgot to tell you the main selling point. One of the main characters is, you would know him as Walder Frey, Matt. He's,
Holy
David
shit, really?
Bradley, who also played, what's his face? The Filch, the caretaker in Harry Potter.
Yeah, that's what I know him as, is that guy.
And he was also in so he was in Hot Fuzz as well, wasn't he? The
Yeah.
farmer
Yeah.
who they can't understand.
Yes. He got all the
That's
guns.
all junk.
He looks like he's about to
David
fall
Bradley's
over
great.
dead any moment. I'm surprised he got all that work.
He plays this kind of like octogenarian dude called Abraham Satrakian, who basically he spent his whole life hunting Strigoi and hunting the Master, and so this kind of like this has come down to a battle between the forces of good and evil at the end of the world. He is basically our one best shot, and he's like this 80-year-old guy who's like coughing up a lung every 5 seconds.
Fuck.
And he's got the most amazing accent. There's this book he was trying to find called the Oxido Lumen, which is supposed to kind of tell how to destroy the Master. And so, like, half the time he's just like going, "The Lumen, give it to me. Like, I need the Lumen." Actually, because I'm so ill today, it sounds relatively normal. But he puts like this weird kind of like raspiness on it. Yeah, he's cool. And every so often it flashbacks to him in concentration camp where he met the other main villain, this guy called Eichhorst, who's like a Nazi SS officer who became Strigoi.
Of course.
Yeah, it's got everything. It's got Nazi, it's got guns, it's got like silver kills them, so silver bombs, and you know it's like kind of vampires done with a kind of sci-fi edge to the point where the vampires are kind of like rooted in almost believability in terms of science. Which is what sold me on it in the first place. I mean, Kina had previously read the books, and she said, "Oh, this is good." So I was like, "Okay," and yeah, it's all right. It's
just not great.
It's passable. But with that, Twin Peaks, Game of Thrones, The Mist, like Monday nights now are just torture.
Oh, that's it. I remember now. Our friend Stephen McHattie from Pontypool.
Yes.
He's in it, isn't he?
He was in it for, I think, the first 2 seasons, or definitely at least the first one. He played like a vampire SWAT dude. You wouldn't know it was him at all. I didn't know it was him.
What's wrong with that? Ah, it's a good makeup job. Why do I have a 1 cent coin on my computer desk? Why do I have this?
Like 1 cent as in an American penny?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Hello, Abraham Lincoln. You
Yeah.
can sit on my desk.
Abraham Lincoln.
Lincoln.
Oh,
Nice.
Oh, the pain. The pain.
Take that.
Moving us on. How about you, Chris? How's your week been?
Yeah. It's been full of work. We've been pushing a lot of overtime. Got a rather cheekily named newspaper within my factory called Hot Out of the Oven, and I work for an oven making company, so that's funny. But they basically said that we're like 10% behind on back orders right now, and we've been that way for like the last 3 months. So most of my time is spent burning up in an oven on top of an oven factory, moving ovens around. But in between that, because it's only usually like 2 minutes long, I've been watching LasagnaCat bullshit.
Yay!
And I've sort of fallen in with it. I'm not like examining the meaning or the wondering and the whys. I'm more like just impressed by either this man's perfect spite for Garfield and his overwhelming dedication to high production value.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, even the stuff that was like 10 years ago was great for the time.
Yeah. Like, this guy, I imagine him as, like, a lonely billionaire. Perhaps, like, the sole, like, the eventual heir to the Jim Davis throne. Like, I think he might be a Jim Davis relative, like a cousin or a nephew or something like that. And he's just, like, he fucking hates Garfield. That I'm sure of. He hates Garfield so much that he's just, like, gone to such lengths on YouTube to fully illustrate to people why Garfield is, as a comic strip, is terrible. And I say that because like every comic strip I've seen they have not been funny. They're not funny at all. And it's not because, like, I'm not saying LasagnaCat isn't funny. I'm saying the comic strip that he is using as an inspiration for the LasagnaCat episode is not funny. And as an example, there's one where John Arbuckle is, like, standing at the table or whatever, because, you know, he's always, like, it's like his house is, like, a front door and a table, and he's always, like, he's got his elbow on it all the time. And that's where Garfield sleeps. And he's got his elbow on the table, his hand holding his head up, and he goes, Garfield, I'm a lonely man. Lonely, 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 lonely. That's the second panel. Third panel is Garfield leaving, and John going, lonely, 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 ellipsis. So he's just by himself in his house saying how lonely he is. That's the comic strip. Like, if you were to keep up with Garfield on the Sunday newspaper and, like, oh, cool, the funnies. That Marmaduke. You know, oh, Dilbert, this is great. And then Garfield is just like, that's crushingly depressing. Why is this here?
I can't wait to read the funnies. I hate my life.
At least I'm not that guy.
I have become John.
You know?
I am John.
I am become John, destroyer of worlds.
you like slump back in your work chair, just going, I have become John. My life is a disaster.
Yeah,
I am John Arbuckle.
and just so that we're understanding, like, it's not just that one strip; it's every strip. Like, there's another one where he's like, "Man, I feel like I'm in the mood to party or do laundry," and then Garfield's like, "To John, there's no difference," and that's the comic strip. Like, what kind of a fucking psycho can't tell the difference between having a social life and folding laundry?
That's what I love about the LasagnaCats, because then you'll get a rim shot of badum,
yeah,
and then you'll get canned laughter going, and then you get a shot of Jim Davis,
yeah,
and then you get a musical number.
Well, the Jim Davis shot usually comes after the musical number.
Oh, that's fair, yeah.
Yeah, but it's like
almost like it's a tribute, though. It's weird.
Yeah, it's like a tribute to this terrible comic strip, and it's really hitting me now because as a kid, I loved Garfield. As a kid, I bought Garfield comic strip books.
Yeah. And
I flipped through them for fun. It's almost like this guy, whoever the hell this Jim Davis heir or whatever is, he's like, he got into Garfield, like, at the wrong time. Like, he started picking it up, like, this is, you know, it's cute. It's kind of, you know, colorful. You know, I like all the orange and the cat's face. It's cute. And he just started reading it. It's like, this is awful. Everything is so bad. It's like he's reading a horror novel now and he just can't put it down. Every book he picks up is just full of depression and sadness, and John can't get a date. John can't keep any girls interested. Garfield keeps eating John's lasagna. Why does a cat keep eating lasagna? And then he keeps abusing Odie and trying to send Nirmal to Abu Dhabi in a box. Like, what the fucking fuck is going on with this comic strip?
Well, if you watch the Night Mind breakdown of the final episode of LasagnaCat, he kind of makes this really cool point how what he thinks the guys at Fatal Farm who are producing LasagnaCat are trying to say is that, like, John Arbuckle is Jim Davis's kind of like Mary Sue almost. It's like his kind of like projection of himself.
Yeah.
Apparently lots of the details of John Arbuckle's fictional life match up with John Davis's. And you know, sort of saying at the end of the day, like, making a point about the fact that Jim Davis will die, but John will always be alive, and like a version of him. It's really strange video.
Oh, wow.
I do recommend. I'll put it in the links for the second time.
Yeah. Well, it's like I came around to it, you know, like once we started this podcast and you started with LasagnaCat, I remember being like, I'm not going to get into that bullshit. It's a rabbit hole I don't have to get into. What's the point? You know, it's just weirdness for weirdness' sake. But no, I think there's an actual message now.
Isn't it cool? Yeah. If you follow Nightmind's channel, basically all he does is breakdowns of things on the internet people have put together as kind of like interactive fiction. You know, sort of like LasagnaCat and like Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared. And his channel's pretty good. Basically, I want to do his version of a channel, except for games, not for interactive videos.
Yeah.
And he has a really nice voice.
He has a
really calming.
Aw. Oh, I can't wait then. It'll be great. I like listening to really nice voices.
It's just a really nice voice.
Yeah. But just one more strip because it's so fucking stupid. I just want to get this one off my chest too. Okay, first panel: John Arbuckle in bed. I guess that's at the end of the long ass table in his house. He's in bed and he's like, "Garfield, come here!" And Garfield approaches him. John Davis? No, that's the singer for Korn. John Arbuckle is like, "I'm sleeping with my socks on tonight." And Garfield is like, wow, like, you know, how exciting it is to live with John Arbuckle. Like, that's the third strip, and that's the punchline. And I'm like, you know what? When I'm sick, like, if it's winter, I sleep with my socks on. It's not that fucking crazy. It's very warm and comfortable, actually, especially if you're sick.
Nice.
Yeah. So, what the hell is this comic strip about?
Do you think it's just Jim Davis was drawing and was going, I hate myself, I hate myself, I hate myself, I hate myself, I hate myself.
Yeah.
I hate myself.
Lonely,
John
so lonely.
Arbuckle.
I'm alone.
I'm so alone. So he was just like pleading for help in each comic strip. If you put them all together, you'll see like the there's like a hidden message. It's saying, "Please send help to this location." That's what it is. And then he made loads of money, so he was okay.
Yeah, I mean, it might have been. Maybe Jim Davis. I am just assuming the wrong thing about Jim Davis. Maybe he was trapped in a contract for making Garfield comics forever for the newspaper, and it was the only way he could make money. Because why would he quit doing that, which made him more money, and get like a full-time job somewhere else? So he just kept making comics, and they weren't inspired in any way. He just started getting sadder and sadder and sadder,
especially
and then
if
trying
you're going to get paid for that quality of work.
Yeah, like he's like actually trying to fail out of the contract, and they just keep publishing it because they're like, people love Garfield. Keep going. How about that live-action movie? Is that in the works? Oh, we're greenlit for a sequel. Wonderful. Garfield is a cash cow. Let me tell you what. It's horrifying. It's horrifying that I loved Garfield, and I had no idea how terrible that stuff was until many years later. Well. Like, what do I love now that is terrible that I don't know is terrible?
You will soon discover it.
Or maybe I won't. Maybe it'll be 20 years after now I'll start discovering it, you know? Kind of like World of Warcraft. Holy shit. Day one was like, oh my god, I'm in the beta. Year one is like, holy shit, I'm leveling and having a good time. Year 7 is like, oh my god, 4th expansion. And then it's like, now I'm like, I wish I hadn't spent a single minute in that fucking game.
I get that.
Yeah.
Oh, World of Warcraft, the drug.
Yeah, I mean, it was really just it's just the
drug,
loot pinata. You just enjoy hitting the loot pinata. They didn't have Diablo 3 out yet, so that's pretty much where that is.
Yeah,
God damn
pretty
it.
much.
Matt served up the perfect segue ball, and I was stepping up to bat, and then I end up batting a pinata. But drug, you say, Matt?
Oh yeah. Drugs.
Oh, like the drug used to experiment on military soldiers in Vietnam during the 1970s?
Yeah.
He's made the connection. It has been made.
Like a drug called ladder, which is the stupidest name for a drug ever. Oh, because it's like a ladder straight to hell. It's like, you don't take a ladder straight to hell. You take an elevator straight to hell.
Yeah, or a slide.
Or a slide.
You'd be taking
or
a
just
while.
an empty pit and you fall straight down into hell.
We called it the hole because we push you into it.
We call it the hole because it's a whole lot of fun.
Hey, oh no, you killed your friends.
Fucking confetti.
Oh shit, that backfired. No, stop stabbing him, it's your friend.
But yeah, Jacob's Ladder.
So, yeah.
Tom, you chose this one, so I guess you should lead us into it.
I did.
Yes, Tom.
I chose Jacob's Ladder first off because I wanted to watch it again because I'm kind of crafting a video essay on it that I want to kind of cut together. So I was doing lots of research on it, and so there are a few little tidbits I'll be able to throw in as we go along. But it's hugely influential. I feel like it is kind of like somewhat underrated. I mean, I don't watch or read many movie magazines nowadays, but when you get like a top 100 or top 200 films, I don't know if this film will ever grace anyone's list in regards to that, but I feel like it is critically important, at least maybe just because I'm into all the things that kind of cite it as a reference. But the first time I heard about Jacob's Ladder, I was 15 years old, and I was a frequent on the Silent Hill forum that I've mentioned before. Chris was also an active user at the same time. and Silent Hill 3 came out. And I was enjoying the hell out of Silent Hill 3 when someone said, "Oh, the train station that you play in at the start, Bergen Street, that's actually a reference to this film called Jacob's Ladder."
Yes, it is.
And so I was like, "Okay, I'm 15 years old and currently like throwing myself balls deep into anything Silent Hill. I'll check out Jacob's Ladder." I also checked out at the very same time things like Session 9 and all these other things that kind of have roots in the Silent Hill genre. And so I watched this movie, and man, it kind of hit me like a truck because I'd never really kind of seen something that had, it's almost a cliched trope at this point to do that. Oh, they were dead the whole time. Yeah, but who was phone? That's like the kind of.
But who was phone?
The meme version of like the internet. But all of the creepypastas nowadays have the thing where it's like, oh yeah, but actually I just found out they were dead. They were killed half an hour ago, and it's not. Jacob's Ladder didn't invent this trope. I mean, it goes back way back.
Yeah, there's like Twilight Zone did shit like that all the time.
Yeah, there's a Twilight Zone episode specifically called The Occurrence at Owl Creek, I think. And that involves a character who's being hanged as punishment, and just as he's about to be hanged, he manages to escape. He kind of makes it down to a river and runs away, but then after a while it cuts back and actually he is being hanged. It was just kind of like the last kind of dreams of him trying to imagine or fantasize an escape. And obviously that played a part, I believe, in Jacob's Ladder's kind of like a genesis. The guy who wrote it, I've forgotten his name now, but I think it's Reitman.
Written by Bruce Joel Rubin.
Rubin, that's it. So basically, Rubin apparently he kind of like he was a screenwriter who travelled to sort of the Far East and kind of literally lived in a monastery for a year, and back before it was a cliche to like do that on your gap year. And he wrote a couple of screenplays, including Ghost, actually.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, which probably the more successful commercially of the projects as opposed to Jacob's Ladder. But apparently he wrote the screenplay for Jacob's Ladder, and it dossed around Hollywood for 10 years, not doing very much. It even appeared on a list of top 10 screenplays that Hollywood, hasn't made yet. And he said it was heavily inspired by this book. We call it in the West the Tibetan Book of the Dead. Essentially, it's kind of like a description of the afterlife and what to expect and how things will kind of happen to you as you die and how to progress through those kind of stages. I believe it's called the Bardo Thodal in this is going to sound incredibly condescending, whatever language they speak in Tibet, Tibetanese, or I guess maybe they speak Chinese. I don't know. It's very kind of condescending of me. I'm sorry. Apologies to all our Tibetan listeners.
Yes, all
you
of
can
them.
write in and tell me how to pronounce it.
Great. Now you've made an enemy out of Tibet. Brilliant, Tom. Thanks so much. Now they're going to just like start attacking us randomly.
Oh yeah, it's just Tibetan. That's what it is, according to Google.
Excellent. There we go.
Yeah.
So he came back. He wrote these kind of screenplays because he was kind of obsessed with this idea of kind of like a death and mystical process around it and afterlives and stuff, which is really cool. But so like I was saying, it was a big influence on Silent Hill. And there were other things around the same time as well. Because I mean, obviously, without going into too much detail, the second I kind of heard about Tibetan Book of the Dead, and I was reading through its Wikipedia page, which is brilliant nightmare fuel if anyone's interested. Kind of it conjures up all kinds of images of what might greet us after we die. But yeah, exactly. So I was looking into because I know sometimes Tibet and kind of Buddhist ideology can creep into David Lynch's work as well on Twin Peaks.
Very much
and apparently I saved the link somewhere, but someone said no, this is more another thing. I can't remember what it was called, but this is an instance of something else, not necessarily Tibetan Buddhism. But it's kind of interesting that these themes play a part in a lot of the stuff that creatively influences me as a person. I wanted to ask you guys actually, because obviously both of you had seen Jacob's Ladder before, where exactly you came into contact with it, and if it was Silent Hill again that was kind of that gateway.
I'll go ahead and take the initiative on this one because I'm actually dying to answer that question before you even asked it. It's part of my my explanation or commentary on the movie. I watched it when I think I was about 12 years old, 12 or 13. Mm-hmm. I say that because I know I was in either middle or high school. Probably middle school if I was 12. That's stupid. But because you go to in America, like you're in high school around 14, 15, and I might have been 14. I don't really know. It was like that 12 to 15 block of time. And I say it because I don't.
It all feels the same. It all feels the same around that time.
Yeah. You always think you just know everything and whatever. But a friend of mine was just like, "Hey, have you ever seen Jacob's Ladder?" Now he was younger than me, so if I was 14, 15, he was at least like 9 or 10.
Damn.
Yeah, I mean, it was just a kid down the street that he was the brother, the little brother of somebody else we hung out with. And he saw Jacob's Ladder way too young, and he was like, he should watch Jacob's Ladder. And I'm like, I don't like horror movies. And he's like, it's not really a horror movie. And I'm like, oh, okay. So we watch it, and it's not really a horror movie, especially at the time that I saw it, because I didn't think anything about it. I was just like, okay, titties, okay, damn, she looked good, okay, I don't get it. Is he dead? You know? And then I just went home. Like, I didn't understand the movie. I ended up watching it much, much later after the influence from Silent Hill Forum saying Jacob's Ladder influences Bergen Street, Silent Hill 3, the subway. I mean, even the train itself looks like it was ripped out of Silent Hill 3 or vice versa. So I ended up watching it again, and I was like, oh, I get it. Titties! You know, I'm right back on that, and I just want to say Elizabeth Pena looks fantastic in that movie. I just really needed to say that out loud.
That's okay.
It's great. Oh my god. So, but then I watched it again, like I said, like in my 20s, and I get it, and I haven't seen it since until this podcast. And now that I've watched it again, it's like I didn't remember a lot of that movie, and I mean I definitely remembered Elizabeth Pena, but I didn't remember a lot of like the scenes, like the whole Vietnam thing. I forgot it. I forgot entirely what that was about. I knew that there was a Vietnam theme, but I didn't really know that was actually part of the story. I didn't really follow along with who Sarah and Jezebel might have been. I didn't follow along with anything except for the chiropractor was clearly an angel of some kind, because he was like the sweetest dude, you know. But yeah, that's how I first came into contact with it and my experiences with it, and not without going into the whole story itself. So Matt, the floor is yours.
I knew of it. I'd heard of it a lot. I'd played Silent Hill way before I'd seen it. I wasn't until I was at university. And Tom and a couple of his friends approached me to help them with.
Were they wearing cloaks and hoods?
I remember something a little hard hitting me on the back of the head.
Okay, yeah, that's about right.
But no, they approached me to help them with their final year project, because obviously, you know, long story short, I changed courses then as to what like Tom and the rest of my friends at uni were doing, so I was a year behind at that point, essentially, in terms of course time. So
yeah, at some point we'll sit down and do like a, and Chris, you're welcome as well. We'll do like a riff tracks of that final year project. It's called Shatter. Basically, it was very Silent Hill influenced because, you know, that's everything I do is Silent Hill influenced. Mm-hmm. And I wrote this brilliant screenplay that I gave to Matt, which was basically involved him kind of like in his dreams going through this kind of nightmare Silent Hill world and scrawling like demonic symbols on the floor and stuff. Yeah. And it was really cool. And I was so proud of it. And then one of the people I was working with said, yeah, no, we don't want demons in it. So I was like, shit.
Oh.
So it ended up being bits of a photo of like his long lost love or something. I don't know.
Yeah, so that's where she went. But yeah. So in preparation, he asked me to watch, or basically, no, I didn't ask me. He was like, I think you should watch this. I watched Session 9, which is a fun little horror movie.
Feel good. Hit the summer.
And Jacob's Ladder, which I knew of because obviously I played a lot of Silent Hill, and I knew whenever I was like, looking up Silent Hill online, just you get into like Wikipedia holes when you just keep going further and further into the hole, going, oh, I click on this now, oh, I click on this now, oh, I click on this now.
I think that's how I got to the Bardo Throttle, incidentally.
Well, so yeah, I was reading that. I kept seeing Jacob's Ladder was highly influential in the design. I was like, oh, I've heard of that. I've seen because I remember seeing the poster for it. I was like, oh, I recognise that. Oh, cool. And then so obviously Tom said you should watch that as well. So I watched it and fucking loved it. And then it was one of those, now it's a good film if you are, especially if you're Silent Hill a fan to watch. Because you watch it and you start to see things. Yeah. And that's very similar to and especially the subway, which they just made the same subway. They just made
Silent Hill 3 in particular is very heavy on the Jacob's Ladder themes. I mean, there's a pig's head in a fridge that's in there. You've got like bathtubs play quite a major role in that game as well.
I mean, I'd like to also just say that like the architecture of the apartment building when you go and as Heather when you get home in Silent Hill 3. I mean, there's a lot of architectural like interior decorating design inspiration from Jacob's Ladder into Silent Hill 3 is what I'm trying to say. I don't know why I couldn't bring that up.
No, definitely. But yeah, I loved it. There's it does one of the things that I enjoy about psychological horror films like this, where you and the main character are seeing really weird things, and everyone else seems just absolutely blasé. Like they either see it and they're not reacting, or they don't see it. Yeah. And there's just something really unsettling about where you seem to be it's like when you have one of those weird nightmares where you seem to be the only person that realises something's wrong.
Yeah, it's a specific form of mania, isn't it? You kind of, because you are in the exact same boat as the main protagonist, you can't 100% get clarification that they aren't crazy, because you're seeing everything that they're seeing, but no one else is corroborating or backing up what they're seeing. So, as far as you're concerned, you're just along for the ride.
And again, what it does is that it's creepy as the things when you don't see. What you don't see is creepy in the film. Like one of my favourite moments is when we're skipping into the actual movie, there's a scene where he's in bed and his ex-wife comes to see him to see how he is. And then he's like, oh, I'm so glad to see you again.
I know the bit you're talking about.
And then you just hear this voice from off camera just say, dream on. It's like, what the fuck was that? He looks over, sees something.
He looks at something.
And goes, oh, Jesus Christ. And then just starts crying. And it's like, that's really creepy. What the fuck is going on? I love shit like that. It's creepy. It's great. And yeah, there's lots of, and then when you watch it back again, knowing the ending, you do see that it's fucking obvious.
Yeah.
Like very early on, it's obvious. Like there's so many hints at what's going on, but because when you go to see these films, because I think Jacob he's a likable character as well.
He is, yeah. You can tell, even though he's got shit going on in his life and it's progressively getting worse. Yeah. That he's a decent person. He's capable of joking and laughing and caring.
Yeah, actually,
you can tell he's kind of subjected to a kind of terror. He's not an asshole or anything.
Like that's one of those things where
just real quick, just to back that up, the scene where he brings Jesse some breakfast and coffee at the post office that they both work at. It's a completely unnecessary scene, but it just really hammers in that Jacob's like a nice dude. You can see why or not Elizabeth, that's her real name, Jezebel is with Jacob, because he cares. It's not like he's just a focused target for psychological horror, and this is the love interest, and you don't ever get any backing for that. You can see them working together and being together. And just one other real quick thing, he is fucking tall for her.
He really is. He's a tall guy.
He's like 2 feet taller than her. It's amazing. It's like he towers over her. Anyway,
Jesus Christ, man. But I mean, what it does is because I've seen a lot of films, and even when you think, oh, is it going to be that he's been dead all along? If the character's really likable, you hope that's not the case.
Yeah.
So then, even though there's loads of hints, there's so many hints throughout the film, that this is what's happening. Because you like him so much, you're like, no, it can't be that. No, he's going to find what's going on, and there's got to be a reason for this.
That's a good point, because I actually, if I'm being honest with myself, watching it through this time, and this must have been, I don't know, it's getting on towards 10 times. I know everything that's going to happen, yet I still, I feel for him, and I want him to get the answers from the military, and I want him to get to the bottom of everything. And I know he's not going to. And it is kind of crushing.
You're just like, we know it's not going well.
Yeah. Since we basically already told that, Jacob's been dead the whole time, and I mean, everyone who's listening to the podcast will have listened or watched the movie, it's interesting to me to know, like, does anything that happened in the movie actually happen, Like, when he goes to get the lawyer, to get the case, to plead a case to the military, and the military is like, no, you leave this information alone, blah, 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 and it goes as expected, but did that ever really happen?
It's strange, isn't it? Because on one hand, no, because it's clearly a fantasy. He never got home from the military to be able to talk to
He never left
like
Vietnam.
However, it's kind of weird because he does create these fantasies that somehow become embellished to the point where people are in front of him, at least he perceives them to be physically in front of him, saying, yeah, we should get together, I'm seeing this shit too, we need to form a class action lawsuit or whatever. And then the lawsuit thing falls apart because of the truth, and the truth, is well, it's not the truth. He was in Vietnam. He did serve as a soldier, but the kind of the fantasy gets swept out from under him time and time again. And so yeah, I think it's that example of like you said, the angel dude who is the chiropractor.
His chiropractor's fucking. I love his guardian angel. He's so fucking awesome.
And this is a really sort of like the amount of people who quote this quote is unreal. I mean, I know at least 2 bands that have used it on a track, on a piece of music. That is the thing, where you go, if you're dying, they look like, devil's trying to tear your life apart. But if you know the quote.
Yeah, if you allow them to do it, you actually see that they're angels trying to, basically
lift you to heaven.
Not save you, but on both sides. Yeah, it's like, they're actually helping you move over.
Yeah.
Because if you.
I think a lot of the times where his kind of fantasy falls through is he's perceiving it as people standing in his way, and it's bureaucracy, and it's kind of cover up. But when he finally accepts the truth, all of that fizzles away, and he's left with his son, who is a positive thing in his life that he misses and he wants to be with.
Played by Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah,
who was home alone until Jacob Singer showed up. I'm sorry.
Have you I know we're going off a slight tangent here. Have you seen the recent photo of Macaulay Culkin?
Yeah,
I've seen him recently. Yeah.
He looks fucking good.
Oh,
yeah, he looks really good.
Well, he does look good. I mean, compared to the shots from a few years ago where he had that weird pizza band he was playing in.
Yeah, and he just looked like he was ready to die.
Yeah,
he was on all kinds of drugs, but he looks really good now. But. Yeah. Anyway, getting us fucking tangents, but but yeah, I mean, yeah, I just getting back to the chiropractor. He's probably one of my favorite side characters in the movie, because obviously he is literally his guardian angel.
Yeah.
Because he really cares about him, and there's that wonderful moment where they're obviously he's all hooked up to all these. He's in hospital, and they've done all these horrible things to him because obviously they're the demons trying to force him to accept what's happening, and he just comes in really angry.
Yeah,
because it makes sense as well when you watch it back. She's like, why would his chiropractor just be allowed to do that?
Yeah,
just like
walks in. He's like, it's barbaric.
Yeah.
You can't treat him like that.
Yeah, he's like, why don't you just burn him with the stake? And you're like, yeah, kick their ass, and just picks up the the crutch and just he's like, I'll wrap this around your fucking head. I'm like, this guy's great. And he's the guardian angel, so it's even cooler. It's like, this guardian angel's going to kick their ass.
Yeah. It is interesting, though, to me, because they were following basic medical procedure, as far as we knew, especially back when that movie was set. So there wasn't anything really wrong, and it made the chiropractor look more like a loony if you weren't following along with what's going on. Also, the fact that he would have the authority, even if he was just a commanding presence, to drag a person away from the hospital bed and just get him out of there. Even though the orderlies are just standing there do we hit him? I mean, what do we do?
What do we do?
And then he just fixes him by repairing his back. It's like, oh, was that the
The
problem?
sergeant.
He had a
It's like, oh, it's just his back?
yeah, he had a fever of like over 107 or something like that, and he melted 50 pounds of ice in a bathtub, and you fix his back, and that makes everything better. This movie
It's
doesn't
like
make any
the best
sense.
advert for chiropractors ever.
Yeah, right.
I will say one thing as well, like, when that scene when he is burned up and he's supposed to have, like, the flu or something, he does look ill as fuck.
Yeah, he does. He
does,
plays that
yeah.
up really good.
Yeah, he looked horrible. Like, I just felt bad for him.
Yeah.
Do you want to know a cool tidbit that I never saw the first time through, but obviously after checking the credits, maybe on the third or fourth watch, I noticed, and since I haven't been able to unnotice, one of the housemates, or one of the, the apartment neighbours that runs to the aid of Jesse when she's trying to cool him down.
Yeah.
Did you know one of them is played by Kyle Gass of Tenacious D?
What?
Yeah.
Huh.
What?
Yeah, you'll have to watch it back again and check for that, but it's very clearly him.
What the hell?
Kyle
Oh, I'm
Gass.
googling it. Oh,
Jacob's
oh
Ladder.
no. Wait. Show me. Because I know. I can't find him now. Are you sure it's Kyle Gass?
It doesn't come up on the Google search. It's definitely Kyle Gass.
I think it might be an actor that looks very similar to him.
No, it's Kyle Gass. It's credited on the credits as Kyle Gass.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
Oh,
if you go
'cause
to his
there's obviously-
Wikipedia page, it will be on there.
Because there's obviously his war buddy that I think a lot of people.
Gass
there's an
acted in the
actor.
feature film Jacob's Ladder.
What the fuck?
Yeah, for real.
What the fuck? Oh, that's amazing. Kyle Gass is in Jacob's Ladder.
Yeah, you'll see him next time. You'll notice him.
Oh,
He's
I'm just
thinner,
gonna have to
a
next
bit thinner.
time. Yeah, I can imagine he is, but. Oh,
Yeah, so there you go.
I'm gonna look up for that. There's no images online. Damn
No,
you,
I've just
Google.
googled. I couldn't find anything, but you
Google.
you gotta believe me. It's there.
I don't have to.
I
Oh wait,
don't have to do
yeah,
anything.
I'm looking at him now. It looks a lot like him. Sorry, I found YouTube. I found the scene on YouTube,
God.
so I'm just
Yeah,
going through
the
it.
scene will be on YouTube, won't it? That'll do it.
Yep.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
That's-
There's the actor that plays his war buddy friend who's freaking out as well. A lot of people online always tend to confuse him with Kyle Gass as well.
Ah, okay. Yeah, I know the
That
guy you
guy's an
mean.
actor.
He has a very memorable face.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
since that actor is playing a character in this movie specifically, I don't think it would be the same person.
Oh no, but some people get confused with him a lot.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's him. It's like it's not. It's really not. It's a different guy.
And while we're talking about kind of the actors who play sort of bit parts in the movie, I did want to touch on Ving Rhames, who literally,
Rhames.
I mean, the first couple of times I watched this movie, I hadn't seen the remake of Dawn of the Dead, so I had no idea who Ving Rhames was.
Yeah.
But I thought it was really nifty because I was saying to you guys last time when I mentioned the movie, one of the things I'd never noticed until this watch through that I did very recently is that when the gas or the chemical hits their compound and he starts having a fit, the way he shakes and jerks is exactly the same as the monster in the hospital that's shaking his head left and right and up and down.
Oh.
And I'd never noticed that before, but it is him. It's wearing the same vest and bandana. Which kind of goes to show, because I mean that kind of shaky jerky head thing, that's a staple of Silent Hill, and to know that is the kind of the meaning behind it is it's kind of like it's like having a fit or some kind of like seizure was really interesting, because I never made that connection before. I mean, it sounds kind of stupid to say it now, but I just hadn't noticed.
It makes sense though. It makes sense that he would be seeing stuff like that as well.
Yeah, it makes me want to go back and look for other members of his platoon, things they were doing in the ensuing madness that might be kind of, representative of the monsters.
Yeah, I think that. I mean, I guess it's kind of silly to say that now, but Jacob's Ladder coming before Silent Hill 3 for obvious reasons. But I was thinking to say that the head shaking thing was. I was going to say that it was inspired Voltaire and all that kind of stuff, but I guess that doesn't make any sense because of the fact that it came out before Silent Hill 3.
I mean, even though Silent Hill 3, we're talking about it's the kind of the main reference point for Silent Hill 3 being the one that uses it the most. I mean, there's an ending in Silent Hill 1 that is pretty much Jacob's Ladder. It's that Harry's been dead in his car the whole time.
Yeah.
So it's clearly been an influence on them from day one, which is really neat. It's just by the third time they decided to, I don't know, use it as like a what's the word? Like a graphics template. Like they just borrow bits of it.
Yeah, basically. I mean, that's what I meant. Like the head shaking thing, I think was originally from Jacob's Ladder, isn't it? Like,
I think so. I mean, I haven't actually looked into it. It would be interesting to look into the history of that kind of shaky head effect, but I'm pretty sure, if not the first, Jacob's Ladder was kind of one of the pioneers in using that kind of effect.
Yeah.
Because it's filmed over a normal time and then sped up, I believe.
Yeah, it would have to be, because you'd basically be standing there in front of the camera, moving your head around, but you can't go as fast as they'd like, so they're going to have to speed that shit up.
Sorry about this, but you're going to feel this in the morning.
Right.
Yeah, I think what they did is they filmed it. I can't remember if it was like a certain amount of frames per second. They like lowered the FPS on the camera, and then obviously had the guy like move his head up and down to the side and stuff, and then they just sped it up. Because it has like that weird blur effect. It's just a really cool effect. It's very simple, but it's really cool.
Yeah, and they use it in the car
If
as
you
well.
search shaky head effect, the first images that come up are Jacob's Ladder. The first things that come up are people on YouTube, and it says like copying Jacob's Ladder effect. So I'm pretty sure they were the first, or one of the first.
It's kind of insane how far Silent Hill like dug into Jacob's Ladder for inspiration, especially considering like how growing up and getting into Silent Hill, I was like, oh my god, Silent Hill is so wonderful and original, and it's like, because I once compared Resident Evil and Silent Hill as Silent Hill being the cheap knockoff of Resident Evil without having played any Silent Hill. You know, I was
I had a similar kind of idea of it, you know, because I played Resident Evil before I played any of the Silent Hills.
And I was like, who is this new upstart trying to get in on my Resident Evil? This is bullshit. How dare they? It looks like shit. You know?
Stupid.
Whoever buys this is dumb. Then I find out that's like a fucking amazing, wonderful survival horror series. But yeah, one thing I wanted to bring up earlier about the fact that everything that happens after Jacob dies doesn't happen because it's all in his head. It seemed like a really clear is the word dichotomy? I don't know, but that Sarah and Jezebel were basically the yin and yang. The one is an angel, one is a demon.
Dichotomy is a good word for it. Yeah, it's kind of like a not an argument, but kind of like a to and fro between two states. That's kind of like a dichotomy.
Yeah,
and you I think you're absolutely right. They do kind of represent his kind of good, pure side and his kind of like dark or maybe even sexy side, you know, kind of relating to Mary Maria in Silent Hill 2.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, because like with Sarah, their relationship was stable, but more or less wooden. You know, like with Jezzy, whenever Jezzy was on the scene, was in scenes, she was either topless or like in stages of toplessness, or you know what I'm saying, like more seductive, like a succubus, like an actual demon.
Yeah, she's very, very representative of that. Yeah.
Well, I mean, they did when he's like reading through the scriptures and he's learning through the books, and he kind of jokingly says that to her as well, doesn't he? Like, did you know that's where the word Jezebel comes from?
Oh yeah.
And also, if you notice as well, whenever you watch it, like she's always there distracting him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like when you're saying she's always topless, like she's just distracting. Every time he tries to just figure out what's going on, she gets really fucking angry.
Yeah,
because she's like, "Stop it! Stop doing it!"
Yeah, or at the very end when he starts getting that phone call from the chemist, the military chemist guy. You need to meet me over here, blah blah, away from Jezebel. Though he doesn't say away from Jezebel, but you get the idea. She's like, please don't go, please. You know, like she's basically begging for him to stay so they can continue having their relationship in hell, I would imagine, you know. And he steps away, and that's basically when it goes from the point where he leaves hell and goes to heaven, metaphorically speaking, I suppose.
Yeah, so. When he listens.
It's no mistake that she's one of the... one of the attendants at his weird surgery in the bowels of that hospital.
Absolutely, yeah, she's there. She's there. Like, you can see her face. She's like not saying anything, but she's looking right at him.
Yeah.
That scene was a really cool scene, though. I mean, not just because it was an acting opportunity for people who have disabilities, but also because it's like, I can't even imagine the set. Okay, like, we're gonna get Tim Robbins in this hospital bed, and we're gonna push him through this horror hallway that just gets worse and has all these weird turns and lefts and rights and forwards, and then you're running over like pieces of corpse. And then there's going to be people above you who are looking at you like, what the hell? There's another fresh meat going by or something like that. Banging on stuff, getting your attention.
Despite all of that stuff going on, one of my favourite shots in that scene is actually of the wheel on the gurney, where it kind of, as they're moving, it literally spins around like one wheel.
Yeah.
It's just kind of symbolic of like this chaos he's kind of descending into.
Yeah.
And I mean, everybody in their wife has ripped off the kind of the horror hospital visuals ever since. I mean, apart from Silent Hill, there's an Avenged Sevenfold music video that uses the exact same thing as a homage.
Oh, wow.
I saw I'd never really listened to Tool's music before, but while I was researching this, I came across the song Sober, and that is like literally like stop motion animation, but it's got loads of visuals from Jacob's Ladder in it.
You've never listened to Tool before?
No, not really.
Matt?
I listened to A Perfect Circle.
I've never really listened to much either.
Yeah, I mean, I just have bizarre gaps in... Because I'm really into music. You ask anybody who knows me, I never shut up about music.
Hey, Matt. Is Tom into music?
I may have mentioned it once or twice.
But, hey, he said no.
I have blank spots, you know, and then I'll end up like gorging myself on their music and buy everything that they've made and like ruin my bank balance.
Yeah, well, the good thing about Tool is that as a band, the band Tool, not Perfect Circle or Pussifer, because those are three bands that James Maynard Keenan has helmed at some point in time.
Okay, yeah.
Tool is unavailable digitally.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, so you don't have to worry about your wallet. I mean, at least it's not on Amazon. It's not on, I don't think it's on Google Music either, but I'm not entirely sure because I haven't looked at Google Music in like 3 or 4 years. It is available on YouTube, though. So, like, you can just, you know, if you want to rip the video off of YouTube and I'm not suggesting you pirate music, you know, put it together on your own terms and ways I'm not going to describe to you, then you can do that and make your own CDs. But it is weird because it's oddly absent that Tool is just not available for purchase digitally. Because I would love to purchase them digitally. I have CDs, but who uses CDs anymore? They're big and bulky.
Well, that's what I was saying. I literally, my entire music collection is made of CDs. I hate when it's digital because, and it's strange because when it comes to TV, I can just download it, watch it, and get rid of it. I'm not that fussed. But with CDs, I don't know, there's something about physicality that I prefer. Yeah. I mean, you're talking to the guy who imported Cave Story for his fucking Switch because there was a nice case in America.
The Switch looks so good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you, but at the same time, like, my car CD player skips. My phone doesn't skip. You know?
Okay. Well, I've literally everything I get, I've got a system. I rip it, I put it into my library, I tag it, and then I burn discs for the car because they get chewed up and they kind of get destroyed. So
yeah, like my Silent Hill soundtracks don't play very well on my car CD player anymore.
No,
it really that really does hurt me actually because like I didn't expect to get them, and I know we're going off on a tangent. We'll get back to the hospital scene in a minute, but I got all 4 of them, Silent Hill 1, 2, 3, and 4 soundtracks for Christmas, and I got them from my parents, and I know they have no idea what the fuck Silent Hill is. So they get these really nice CDs with really nice cases and designs, and it's all horror based stuff. It's like if a stranger looked at these 4 things, they'd be like, "What the fuck are we buying?"
Well, especially the Silent Hill 3 one because that's got Heather like with no top on basically.
Yeah, but she's got the vest. Like,
really?
You can't see nipples.
She's still got the vest.
Yeah, you barely see any curvature. It's just she's still wearing her white vest. It's unzipped, but you just see like the belly button. Yeah, so and she looks sad
anyone
or
looking
weird.
At it's gonna be like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, why are we buying this for our son?
What does our son become?
Yeah. So I was very happy to get them, though. Very happy.
That's
And
cool.
I've played the shit out of them. I don't know what it is, but I mean, it's really good music. It's not like something you
It
want to
is.
play at a concert. Not all of them, anyway. Not something you want to play like, hey, let's go to a jazz bar, listen to horror sounds. But
Well, as someone who has listened to Akira Yamaoka actually play some of them live, yeah, they're not great live songs.
no.
It was an
I,
okay concert, but
Yeah, I was supposed to go a couple of years ago, but I had like the flu. So I
yeah, that sucks. Because I think you were either going to go to the one that I was going to or one nearby, but
couldn't. Yeah.
it was okay. It was
not happy.
interesting. Concert. It was kind of very lo-fi. Basically, it was kind of like a town hall fete. You know, like people who kind of, some people have brought in some TVs and Silent Hill. So some people were playing Silent Hill on TVs over in one corner. In another corner, there was someone dressed up as a nurse walking around, like touching people. It was very kind of strange. It was like a weird convention. But they came out and played, and the music was okay. But like, I don't think Akira Yamaoka is like an amazing guitar player live. Like some of the songs and stuff, there were technical issues and what have you. And they also played a lot of stuff from the games that I haven't really listened to, like Shattered Memories and
The
yeah.
Shattered Memories soundtrack is really good, though. I have that digitally.
Yeah. I mean, I need to get around to Shattered Memories. So I've got it on PS2. Which is
You mean you
very
haven't
rare,
played
actually.
it?
No, I know of it. I mean, you know, it's hard to escape it. When you're a Silent Hill fan, you kind of pick up bits and pieces. I know stuff about it. I've seen some gameplay. My brother had it for Wii, so I've seen him playing it on the Wii.
Matt, have you played it?
I've watched. I haven't played it. I've watched like playthroughs.
What?
And whatnot. Yeah, it's one of the few that I haven't played. It's weird. It's one of the only ones.
I've played
It's the weirdest
Homecoming.
thing.
I've played Downpour.
No, you can't defend
Yeah.
yourself now. You haven't played Shattered Memories.
No, that's the weird thing. Like, it's the only one
It's-
that I haven't played. And the weirdest thing is, I had a Wii at the time, and I just don't know why I didn't play it. I have no idea why.
I mean, I'm not trying to make you guys
Even
feel
when I
bad
heard it
or
was good.
anything. I really am not, but it is at the same time. Like, I really like Shattered Memories. It's not like a good puzzle game. It's not really a good horror game, but it's a fantastic entry into a what-if story of what Silent Hill could have been. Could have been, but was in Silent Hill 1. It's like it's a side story, and it is the most touching ending I've ever experienced. So I
love, like I said, I watched like full playthrough, and I really liked it. Or Dana covered it on the Game Den, and she did a really good look. She had a really good like in-depth look at it, and I thought this is really good. This makes a lot of sense. And she was like saying, what if it's like maybe this is like, she was like, what if the ending to Silent Hill 1, where the bad ending is actually canon, and this is young Heather or Cheryl trying to deal with the fact her dad's dead, and that everything's like is an invention of her imagination. It's like, no, my dad was like a hero and he tried to save me from monsters.
Yeah.
It's like, that's a cool take on it. I mean, obviously she was like, that's only like a cool little fan theory, but I don't know, I really like the stuff I've watched, like the playthroughs and all the videos on it. I'm like, this looks cool. I just never played it.
The puzzles could have been a lot better, I think, but I'm not trying to get into Shattered Memories right now. Like the hospital scene in Jacob's Ladder, we did just meander and go all over the place on a tangent.
It's what we do.
Yeah, it's what we
Everyone knows this by now. Accept it.
So, but getting back to the hospital scene on Jacob's Ladder.
Oh, it's so good.
Like when they finally get to their destination and the doctor is unclear with all of his answers, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Except for the fact that you
Again,
are
really
dead.
unsettling. Yeah. It's like, but you are dead. Then what are you? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what
I need help. You're not helping me. You're gonna drill into my skull. Why?
He's like, I'm scared. I just want to go home.
And then there's
Where
the
is
guy
it?
with no eyes. Like,
Yeah, and you're like, oh, what is that?
Yeah.
It's bad. No.
I wonder.
It's weird.
Like when I see these kinds of scenes, I often wonder how the actors are they really getting an inspiration from fear of actually seeing these people pretend to drill into his head, or is he like so pro that he can just pull fear out of his ass and just pretend it? You know, I mean, that's why practical effects are really good. That's why I'm not trying to like go off on a tangent again, but like nowadays, like even watching like Galaxy of Terror, I mean, the practical effects are way better for actors to be able to get inspired and get into the scene with.
Yeah, and they can interact with them. They can really interact with, like, if it's a physical item, they can like fully interact with it.
yeah.
So
your brain goes, I know that's not a real monster, but I know it's there. And that's the problem I have with a lot of CGI. I went to the cinema yesterday to see Spider-Man, which was it was alright. And we saw the trailer for Justice League, and there was like so much CGI. But the thing is, like, my brain was doing this thing where I'm going, that's not actually Ben Affleck, that's a CGI Ben Affleck. That's not really Wonder Woman, that's CGI Wonder Woman. That's not real. They're not actually driving, they're on a green screen. You know, when you just, like, your brain goes, I know that's not real. And, I don't mind CGI. I mean, one of my favourite trilogy of films is Lord of the Rings, that has a lot of CGI.
Yeah, Golem is done really well, though, but that's because there's a guy who's playing Golem.
Exactly, and also what's good as well in those ones, that's why I didn't like the Hobbit films so much, but in those ones, like, they used CGI, but they used it when they had to, and they had no choice. But they would use it to just add flavour to like scenery. You know? Like the moment where the steward of Gondor walks out and looks down and sees like the horde of orcs from Mordor. It's like, they haven't got like 900,000 extras to stand down.
But
there.
If they asked, people would have flocked.
Oh yeah. But yeah, it's all about. I think the problem with CGI is that a lot of filmmakers and companies just see it as like an easy go-to. Like, it really annoys me when it's like an action film and it's fake blood. I hate it. It's like, you square blood. I always think of RoboCop when the guy is getting absolutely jackhammered by Ed 209, and he's got like, all the blood packs are just like exploding off of him, and it's this wonderful gory mess.
The Walking Dead uses CG blood sometimes, and it's really bad.
Yeah, and it's like, that looks shit. It looks really really weird, and it looks so phony.
Do you know what I heard this week though about CGI? I heard that Henry Cavill, who plays Superman.
Oh my god, this,
Yeah, I heard that apparently because he's filming some kind of movie where he has to have a moustache. Yeah. So he's grown the moustache for that movie, but the Justice League movie needs to do reshoots, and so they need him back. But obviously Superman doesn't have a moustache, so apparently they're gonna have to remove it via CGI.
No way.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Like every reshot they're going to have to do with him in it, they'll have to digitally remove this moustache. And I know now that, I probably never will watch the Justice League movie, but if I do, I'm going to be pissing myself the whole time looking for this kind of like weird motion blur around his lips.
You will, because it's going to look it's going to look weird.
Yeah, you can't avoid it. It's going to look bad.
It always looks weird when they do that, and it's like, why does that one part of his face look so plastic and weird?
Yeah.
Like, because your brain turns on the uncanny valley thing. You go, that's weird.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that?
Because it reminds me, I think yesterday, it doesn't matter when I did this. I was on Twitter yesterday. I don't get on Twitter very much anymore, but I was on there, and somebody was like, I tried to do mustache Superman, but I kept coming up with Freddie Mercury. And I was like, why would this person just out of nowhere do a mustache Superman? But now I know the backstory, apparently. Mustache Superman is a real thing.
Oh, it's the funniest thing. Like, maybe you guys should have... maybe you guys that, like, on this movie that's costing, like, probably, like, near 200 million, maybe you should have made sure you had all these fucking scenes shot properly.
Yeah. I mean...
Jesus Christ.
Like, this movie is their Hail Mary pass. If it doesn't work out, then their entire DC universe is just not worth investing in anymore.
No, because it's had... I mean, I haven't seen Wonder Woman yet, but I heard it's good, but...
You would.
I can't think of...
I mean, everyone would have heard that Wonder Woman is good because... social reasons, but I'm sorry, go on.
But I've heard from people that I know saying, no, it's pretty good. They were like, it's definitely the best DC like universe movie they've made so far. Good, like by a mile. They're like, it's so much better than anything else. Because I went to see Suicide Squad and wanted to kill myself.
Oh, good joke.
I didn't even mean to make that joke.
It was a good one.
Realized, but it was so. I mean, Suicide Squad was just miserable. It wasn't even like funny bad. Like, you get the funny bad. I've said before, funny bad. You're like, oh, this movie's so terrible, but it's funny. But then when you get like something that's just miserable, and that was miserable. And they're like, let's use pop music because Guardians of the Galaxy was successful. But that was they had a really good reason for there being classic music from the 80s and 70s because it's a character. It's like a characteristic of one of the main characters. Yeah. That he listens to that on his tape player.
I mean, he was basically an Earthling in space, and he was one of the only ones, if maybe the only one, so it was something he could bring with him to space. And it was a character perk. It wasn't even in the comics, but it didn't matter because it worked really well in the movie. Just adding pop music on top of a scene for no reason is not the same thing.
Nope. Let's play Without Me by Eminem because he's hip and cool with the kids. He is, right? No, it's like 17 years ago, mate. Oh, it doesn't matter. People know it, they like it. But, wow, we've gotten way off topic. So basically, this is what... All this happens in Jacob's Ladder. And that's actually the twist ending. He's a executive at Warner Brothers. And he's going, these DC Universe movies are shit, so I'm going to invent my own little world where I'm in Vietnam. And
my favourite scene of Jacob's Ladder is while he's trying to outrun those guys in the car, still DRE is heard in the background.
It's like they're actually just, as they're driving towards him, they've got like scripts with rewrites, and he's the director, and he's just trying to run away from him, like, no more rewrites.
Let's just go with what we have.
Thought they do have a pop song because they sing "Stop, Mr. Postman."
Yeah,
that's a really cool scene.
Yeah, it's a cool scene.
I like that.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Matt.
And I think that because he probably was something like a postman before he was enlisted for Vietnam.
Yeah.
So maybe that's one of the things like Chris, you were touching on earlier. Maybe that's something that he's remembering.
It is. Although another thing they say is that apparently he got some kind of doctorate and he's wasted it. So I think maybe he was, maybe he was a postman before and he was doing the doctorate, and now they're asking why he hasn't done anything with it.
Yeah.
Which I guess is kind of reflective on the fact that he's kind of in his future life. It seems he's settled because he can't be with his wife and family. He's settled for a kind of a secondary life.
But settling for Jezebel is not settling, okay? Right. I mean, she's really sweet to him too in a lot of the scenes. So I mean, it's like they have a really great relationship. Anyway, I'm just going off on a tangent. But really quick, while we're talking about the Postman, though, not the Postman, but the song that they sang to Jacob Singer, who is a postman. I thought, what if? Because I don't know who sang that song. It's like, what if the people who sang that song were the Temptations? Because then it would be like a temptation to hell, like, stay here. Where you going, Mr. Postman? No, it's not the Temptations. I looked it up earlier. But I thought it would have been really cool.
Well, back in the Silent Hill 2 forum days, that would have been a forum post all of its own.
Yeah, it would have been hundreds of replies.
The layers, the fact that it's the band, the Temptations. Yeah, but I mean, that song must have come out. I believe that must have come out before he went to Vietnam. What was that? 60s
as well. It must have been. Yeah. I mean, I was also thinking like, because obviously this is skipping ahead a bit, but when he's in the helicopter in the real world, maybe it was on because obviously that's the thing you always see in films is like, oh, Vietnam, they used to listen to Rolling Stones and other music and stuff. So it's like maybe it's something they were listening to in the helicopter. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
It's a weird movie.
That could have been a 2,000-word topic on Silent Hill forum back in the day. So.
Because we would talk about how playing that kind of music in a medical liftoff or rescue chopper would be soothing to the people inside the helicopter and possibly part of their healing. And then somebody else would have been like, that's bullshit. And they would have gone into a reason why that's bullshit. But I would have been like, nah, I would have believed it the other way, so I'm just going to keep fighting this guy forever.
Just because I can, because fuck this guy.
Yeah, basically. But yeah, Jacob's Ladder. Sorry, go ahead, Matt.
No, so we're quite near the end, really, aren't we? We've
covered
not really gone in like most. Yeah, I mean, we've not done it really linear and such because we've spoken about the chiropractor saving him after the quote unquote operation at the hospital. I will say like one thing I wanted to say about the hospital scene in general. Like it is obviously again once you've already know the ending. When you watch it back, he's literally being taken into descending into hell because he starts seeing. Things from his memories, like his son's destroyed bicycle and all this other stuff.
Yeah,
which they use stuff like that in Silent Hill as well. In particular, Homecoming. But I've seen I'm pretty sure that it's on YouTube. Someone has for that scene has just overlaid the siren from Silent Hill over it.
Okay.
Oh,
so it's kind of like a transitional stage to the other world,
it's
really.
Very much like the way that the kind of the walls change to be kind of like mesh and
there's when you've got the people with like no legs and all like deformed above him. There's like they're all like mesh and there's the fans in the floor as well, and it's all really strange and kind of alien, and doesn't. It's like, oh, this looks weird. Why does it look like this?
And what I like about it as well is that it's not a throwaway scene, but that is just one scene of the movie. But it's got so many ideas. It's got so many, it's got such depth to it. It's insane. Yeah, and I mean that one scene like can inspire so much. It's mind-blowing.
Inspired a lot, but I mean, so I'm trying to think what happens. So he then starts. So he tries to talk to his Vietnam buddies because one of them approaches him and says he's been saying the same things. Then I noticed that when his friend explodes.
Yeah.
His car explodes.
Thank you. His car explodes. When his friend eats
a
lot of food and then has a wafer thin mint and then it explodes, then
Yeah, that's a completely different movie.
I had a friend once, he exploded.
That's the porn parody. Jacob's Ladder. I noticed because I was thinking about that, like his friend who's like seeing the same thing, and part of me thinks that was him. It's not his imagination, because he just before his car explodes, he kind of looks at peace. He looks like kind of like he's quite acceptant of what's going on.
Yeah.
And it's only once he kind of looks and smiles at Jacob, that's when his car explodes. That's when he dies. So yeah, I'm not sure if maybe some of that is actually that it's not actually just all his imagination, because obviously his guardian angel is his guardian angel, I would assume, because it's very heavily implied, isn't it? Especially with the ending that it is all going towards the afterlife.
Well, yeah.
So because then you question, like, well, does that mean that his Vietnam friends that he meets afterwards, are they actually there, or is that all his imagination? You go, I don't know. And because obviously there's the doctor. But obviously, because I don't think you see that doctor in Vietnam, do you?
Dr. Carlson?
The one who's like, the one who tells him, oh, I invented a drug called the ladder.
Oh, no, I don't think you do, because if he was there in Vietnam, he would be putting himself at risk.
Exactly, yeah. I didn't know if he was like, because I was thinking maybe he's one of the doctors that was trying to save him on the helicopter. Which would make sense.
They play with that though, because don't they? The last message of the movie is something like the government denied like testing on men in Vietnam. So it's like the whole time they're playing with this idea of either it's his mind thinking up a scenario that explains what happened to him, or it does actually have some kind of merit, and it's more just a case of I guess truth pervading his dying illusions.
Yeah. It's hard to say, because once you go from Vietnam to Jacob Singer in what we can only assume is like a sort of purgatory, because you're right, Matt. I mean, it's not really his imagination; it is a real metaphysical space that he existed in. And I do believe that of all the other people who died in Vietnam, his war buddies that were also in the same purgatory, their spirits were also there. And the car explosion, if you ask me, might be something similar to someone accepting their place in hell.
That's what I meant. Yeah, so it's like he's at peace and he's like, I've accepted this.
Yeah.
So he doesn't
like the demons have come for him and come for him and come for him, and he's like, you know what? Come get me. Yeah. And
it's like, I'm cool.
And you only ever see Jacob really ascend to a different place at the end of the movie. I don't believe Ving Rhames' character or any of the other ones have any kind of conclusion, but they could also be wandering lost souls as well. If you just want to if you just want to take the movie as it is and not think too much further into it, I think that's exactly how it goes. But then it also kind of confirms that lawyers hang out in purgatory. So that's the weirdest part. It's like, he goes to a lawyer. There is an infrastructure. There is a society. Although most scenes, oddly enough, because he looks like he's in New York, right? I believe New York.
Yes, it is New York.
The streets are kind of empty.
One of the goofs is that the twin towers are visible, and apparently they wouldn't have been built before he was in Vietnam. So that's a technical kind of inaccuracy.
Oh, I didn't know that. But yeah, there's a lot of space where he's walking. Like when he's on the sidewalk, when he's driving his route, there's hardly any people on the street. Now, that could just be because of the cameras and how they worked and how they shot the scene. They didn't want a whole lot of people walking around. But even in the subway, it was almost vacant. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was oddly empty for New York. But then you have that infrastructure, so you can only kind of imagine like where the lawyer works and like where the buildings are, the hospitals and that kind of stuff. Like that's kind of where the angels are sort of like congregating and doing their daily heavenly business, along with the devils as well. Because you know they have that one lady, that one nurse in the hospital who's like, Dr. Carlson has never worked here. I dropped my hat. Look at my horns.
And she's fucking horrible as well, isn't she?
Well, she seems like she's just like frustrated with her job.
With
I wouldn't say she's a horrible person. She might be someone's like elderly, lovely grandma, but just not at work. Or as a demon, I guess.
Yeah.
She's apparently a demon.
So, I mean, we've not got really much left in the movie, have we?
Yeah, because I mean, we could talk about this movie for forever.
We really could.
But I think, there reaches a point where we just have to kind of turn the tap off. So, in closing, this watch especially, was there anything kind of? I mean, I've mentioned some of the things that kind of fell into place for me. Was there anything that kind of struck out to you this time through, or things you finally consolidated in your head about it?
I mean, struck out like you didn't like, or like something that didn't fit?
No, I mean like something maybe that finally came together, or a reference you know about, or something like that.
Well, like for me, hands down, it was the fact that Sarah and Jezebel were like an angel and demon, both pulling at Jacob's soul at the same time. If you ask me, that's what it is. And the fact that he sees his two kids in purgatory along with Gabriel. At one point when he's with Sarah in bed and they're talking about the window being open and it's cold and all that kind of stuff. The coldness of the window could be an indicator of where he is at that point in time, because purgatory and hell's much hotter. I don't really know. That's probably nothing. But
that's true. But he is actually reliving a flashback there as well. So it's two things at once. Yeah. Because his son definitely died before he went to Vietnam.
Yeah.
Because to have his picture in his wallet and everything. You know.
Yeah, and he remembers him dying as well.
By the way, speaking of that picture in his wallet, when Santa Claus mugs him or like takes advantage of him, that's another demon and or angel pulling his memories away so that he will go to heaven.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, you're right.
I love the way he delivers that as well, where he's just Santa Claus.
Yeah. Who robbed you, Santa Claus? Okay, we're just gonna ignore that shit.
They both give themselves a look, like you can see them just look at each other, like okay.
Like, what have you seen, man? What have you seen, buddy?
So, but yeah, like all the little pieces of like the fact that they're tearing Jacob's spirit away so he can go to heaven, all those little things kind of, even the Mr. Postman, where are you going, Mr. Postman? It's what's your direction? Are you going up or down? That sort of scene where they're singing to him and he just sort of wanders sideways off the street. I mean, all of that, it really does play into the overall theme of basically choosing where you go in your afterlife.
That's true, yeah. I mean, some people would kind of scoff and go, "Oh, you can't look at it on that." You know, like some things just exist because they exist; they don't mean anything. But I think all of it comes together to bring this sense. Because I mean, the whole idea of Jacob's Ladder, is a biblical reference anyway. So you've got these big biblical references. You've got this whole kind of limbo idea of where are you going, heaven or hell? I mean. So I think everything plays into that on some level, even if it was subconscious with the director or the guy who wrote it,
Like even the palm reader on the stairs, like she was overjoyed at the fact that he was already dead. Like her face didn't go, "You're already dead. What the fuck?" She's like, "You already dead. Come here, look at me with those baby blues." And and they're at this big party and everyone's kind of getting a little too frisky. And then there's a tail and like a tooth or a horn coming out of Jezzy's mouth or something like that. Sex. Yeah.
Yeah, you're just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, like they're having a good time in hell, and they want to bring him too. It seems.
Yeah, it was a bit unsettling. Like, I don't want to go to that party, man. I'm good. I'll stay at home and eat crisps.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting as well because the way. Sorry, just laughing at that delayed.
Yeah. So many crisps. Monster
comes back to that. You call back to the first episode.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the proto episode, episode 0. Episode 0. I've completely lost my track now. Damn it.
We're talking about the party and how like they're enjoying themselves in hell and they're trying to drag Jacob down to that.
And the way that I guess to make someone become a demon or to bring them to hell, like the whole idea of trying to rip away their life, their memories. I mean, the way she incinerates those photos.
Yeah, immediately.
Exactly, and you kind of, you think of it, first of all, the first time you watch the movie, you're thinking, oh, she's just kind of like a spiteful, new lover, she doesn't like the ex, whatever, so she gets rid of the photos. But
like,
it also works on that other level as well.
Yeah. I mean, she doesn't want him to remember any of that other stuff. She wants to coerce him to hell. So it's like, let's go to this party. Come on, dance with me. Just one dance. And like everything that she offered as a suggestion was relatively, reasonable. Like, yeah, okay, I'll go dance with my girl. It's no big deal. And then she like gets bored of him, and then like spike sex happens.
Spike sex. And you thought you saw weird stuff in Galaxy Attack.
Yeah. Worms? How about spikes? This is a little off topic, but still in the vein of Jacob's Ladder. When she goes to work and he's at home like sick or recovering or something like that, she says something and it just made me laugh. I'm going to explain why it made me laugh. She said, I didn't have time to cook dinner, but I left a Hungry Man in the oven. And then she leaves, and I laugh because Hungry Man is a brand of TV dinner. I don't know if you guys have that over there, but
no, I don't think so.
Oh, well, then it should be funny.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah, it's a brand of TV dinner. You just throw it in the oven, and when you don't want to cook or that kind of thing. But I just imagine she stuffed an actual hungry person in the oven, like, whenever you're hungry, there's a starving man in the oven. I gotta go to work. Bye. It just made me laugh.
It's like, wait, you put a what in the oven?
Should I open the oven? Do I just turn it on and forget it ever happened?
If I let him out, he might be really angry with me.
Yeah. Is he a big hungry man? I mean, can I take him? Should I get a gun? What did you do?
Like, yeah, I mean, like, it's like homeless people can be like really tough bastards, man. I don't want to touch. It could be crazy strand. I'm just getting over a virus. I don't want to do this.
Did you padlock the oven? Because I don't know if I want him to get out.
The mental images.
Yeah, it just made me laugh. I thought that was a great line to sort of casually throw it in there. But yeah, it's a really well put together movie. The scenes follow relatively well from one to the next, and it tells a story really well. The one thing I also liked was that it does skip around, but it's supposed to, I think, because you're supposed to not be oriented in the movie at any time until the end, and you start thinking about it, and post-movie digestion happens and that kind of thing. So it's just one of those movies that deserves its classic status.
Yeah, and I feel a lot of the how The Sixth Sense gets an awful lot of credit for being the twist ending. Yeah. He was dead all along. Yeah, kind of like masterpiece. And I mean, The Sixth Sense is definitely my favorite of M. Shyamalan's films. It's not saying something, but so I feel like it shouldn't get as much credit as it does, because basically Jacob's Ladder did the same thing, but say 4 or 5 years earlier.
Yeah.
So. You've got a twist ending here. You've got a film that on repeat viewing you can kind of appreciate it for the fact that it's filmed in such a way that he is dead all the time, or on the cusp of life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think like you were saying about how it jumps around a lot. I think that helps with making you feel a little bit uneasy, and it also gives it that kind of that further adds to that sense of unreality, like something's just wrong.
Yeah, like you see that demon tail in the very beginning, and you're just like, okay, that happened, but what the fuck was that? And then it's like normal movie for a while, and then let's go dance, and it's like, wait, was that a spike? And then it's a normal movie for a while.
It's like when I've listened to like playthroughs of things in the past, like quasi podcasts where they like play games, and I think about when Yahtzee and his Australian friend Gabe, when they were playing Silent Hill, and they were saying about how the voice acting is very wooden in that. I think it might have been Gabe that said it was one of them that said they like it because it makes it feel even more uneasy because the people sound weird.
Yeah.
They talk a bit strange in it.
It's almost like they're wearing a mask. Like for me, when I communicate with somebody, I'm reading their face, I'm listening to their voice, I'm listening for tones, and I read off all that to understand where I'm sitting. Like if someone's mad at me, or if someone likes me, or if someone hates me. But with Silent Hill, you get none of that stuff because, for one, it's a PS1 game. Two, that voice acting is so wooden, you can't tell if they're terrified by their surroundings surroundings or if they're part of the surroundings, and it really adds to, I think, the ambience or effect of that.
Yeah. And again, like when the characters in Silent Hill, especially I think it's Dr. Colvin when you meet him the first time, and he's just sat there, he's just gunned something down, and then he just talks to you really oddly, like very calm. He's like, huh, and it's snowing this kind of year. Like, that's the thing that you're fucking worried about.
Do you see the corpse?
You just killed a skinned pterodactyl, and there's dogs outside as well, and you're like, huh, and it's snowing. Like, what the fuck, man? And especially like he fires the gun at Harry the first time he enters, and he's like, sorry about that. I thought you were one of them. Like, what the fuck, man?
Well, yeah, 2 things. 1, fuck you. 2, you missed. 3, fuck you.
Yeah, you're gonna die at the end, motherfucker, and get dragged to hell. Although it's not my favorite exchange like that will always be Resident Evil 2. Who are you? What are you doing?
Oh yeah.
Like, don't shoot! I'm a human.
Yeah.
Oh. Sorry about that.
It's even
better
when you're Claire, because he goes, relax, girly.
Yeah.
It's like,
oh my God.
Sorry about that, babe. It's like, and then she's like, what's going on in this town? He goes, I ain't got no clue, darling.
Yeah. Resident Evil 2 peaked early for me in terms of my favourite dialogue, though, because my favourite dialogue is in the pre-game credit roll, where he goes, guy's a maniac, try to bite me. That's like seared into my brain.
Oh man.
That's it's like, that goddamn guy's a maniac. Why do you bite me?
Why do you bite me?
And he's got like that huge chunk taken out of his
eyes. I'm okay with this.
Like,
I just need to get it treated.
Yeah. All I could think of, like, looking back now, is like, maybe he's just like arrived at the same time as Leon and Claire. But then also, my brain does this other thing of why did no one set up some kind of like, they didn't cordon off the city.
Yeah.
Because Leon and Claire just like go right in. Like, guys, like, could maybe like close off the streets coming in and out of the city. But the voice acting in Resident Evil 2 is just glorious.
You guys talking about the voice acting has like unearthed ancient treasures in my brain that I've completely forgot about. Oh man.
I love I'm the only cop left alive in this building. What? As he does, and I always picture it whenever it's all like he does that, they do that motion with his hand, like he just like lifts his hand, like moves it forward. He goes, "What? Like, what are you trying to like push a button? What are you doing?"
Yeah. Oh, those old days.
Brilliant. Oh, I love Resident Evil 2.
All right.
It's so good. I think one of my favourite voices in that is Chief Irons. He's one of the best voice actors in the whole thing because he sounds genuinely deranged.
Yeah.
But she'll soon putrefy and turn into a zombie like all the others. You're like, hey, that's great. I'm gonna go in the room over there.
Yeah.
You stay here with your taxidermy, and you do whatever you need to do with that woman who's dead on your desk. Just go. You got a creepy rape dungeon. This is good. This is fine. Why have you got a creepy rape dungeon in a police station?
Yeah. Who voted for you?
You know, like umpteen puzzles, including like fucking chess piece, switchboard, fuse thing.
Yeah.
Like, what janitor's like, I made a passcode system for the sewers. Oh, that's great. What did you do, Jerry? You have to get like these chess pieces. What? And then you have to like click them in.
I've littered them throughout the precinct.
Yeah.
Jerry, how did you? Don't ask. Umbrella.
Umbrella.
Umbrella Corporation. Umbrella Corporation.
Like, that's all he says from that point on. Umbrella. You have exhausted me of answers. I can only give you umbrella.
Yeah, it's like when you finish like a dialogue tree, and that's all they say. It's like, I ain't got no more information for you, and then just move on.
Umbrella. High five, umbrella. Red and white to the core, umbrella.
I ain't got no clue, darling.
Yeah. So that was Jacob's Ladder, I suppose. After all the Resident Evil 2, but I did enjoy hearing all that stuff. I was like, man, I used to speedrun that when I was a kid. I didn't know it was cool to do that in the future, or I would have kept doing it.
If I knew, I'd have had that shit on VHS by now.
I did.
I'd have been like, I'm gonna put it on the internet when I'm older. I'm like, fucking stupid kid.
I did have it on VHS.
I remember rigging our VHS up so that it would record from the console. I recorded myself beating Banjo-Kazooie.
Like with a shovel, or...
It was like, bing, Mario clone!
Bing, bing. It was 3 hours long. Bing, bing, bing.
Just thinking, did we actually touch upon the ending of Jacob's Ladder, really?
Well, that he talks to his son, Gabriel, and goes to heaven?
yeah, and then he walks up the steps. Did we? Oh god, it's been so much talking.
Yeah, well, I think I mentioned that
memories
earlier
of Resident
because I
Evil.
think we went ahead and spoiled the ending right away because it would have been impossible to talk about otherwise, unless
so
we spoke about every scene. And it's a 2-hour movie, so it would have been a 2-hour. It is a 2-hour podcast.
Yeah,
Yep, and now we're
maybe longer than I remember.
Now we're 2 hours in. I'll just take this time to say, if you're listening and you haven't watched this movie, Jacob was killed in Vietnam, and the whole movie was kind of like a dying dream. There you
Oh my
go.
god, spoilers! Spoilers for a movie that came out like nearly 30 years ago. Oh no! When did Jacob's Ladder come out? It was
1991, something like that. I think it's 90.
1990, so 27 years old. So if you haven't watched the movie, it came out 27 years ago, and you don't like the fact that we spoiled it for you, tough.
Yeah, tough.
Like, look at the title, the podcast.
We did
What's
warn
the
you
title?
at the start as well.
And then the last podcast, so you had time.
Yeah.
You ain't got no right to complain.
Speaking of the podcast and last podcast and the coming podcast, I believe it's my turn to choose a thing to do. Yeah.
Indeed it is, sir. Indeed.
Okay. Well, not to brag, but I bought the collector's edition of Little Nightmares.
Oh.
Yeah, I bought it on Amazon. It's so weird because I just saw him. I was on Amazon for unrelated reasons, and then I was just like, Little Nightmares. It looks like it might be something I'd be interested in. Click, $30 for the collector's edition. I'll bite. I don't even know anything about it, but the CE is $30. It's half the retail price of most video games. All right.
It is a short game, though. It is definitely a budget title.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm so happy about that. I mean, if you're going to make a budget title, there's nothing wrong with that. If you're going to make a video game that can only be like 2 hours long, but you're willing to cut the price down to match, fucking high five, man. I will buy that shit every fucking time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because then there's a chance I can actually finish it in time for the next game.
Exactly. I am so pumped by that.
I'm still trudging through. I mean, I'm loving it. Don't get me wrong, but I'm still slowly getting through Persona 5, and I've just realised as well, the remake or reimagining of Yakuza 1 comes out a day before my birthday. So like 2 Yakuza games in the year is just fucking awesome anyway. But that's another big game for me to play. And I've still got Final Fantasy 12, the Zodiac Age, sitting there looking at me going, "Play me, Matt. Play me. I'm better than 15.
I still got the FF10 HD remaster on both PC and PS4.
Oh shit, yeah.
You know? I also have FF14, the collector's edition, which is like, I mean, that's an MMO, so it's endless. So it's like I'm just shooting myself in the foot with a machine gun over here.
Stop remastering RPGs I like. I don't have the time.
Speaking of horror, one of the things about the FF10 HD remaster is that I get bored playing it.
Oh, that's not good.
And it's like, do I not enjoy this anymore? Oh,
that's always a horrible thing.
But I never
played 10.
I like 10. 10's
amazing.
Good, but I can see why.
But I did play 12.
I love the combat system.
And I enjoyed 12. It was okay. I wasn't really a fan of the story, but I did like the gameplay.
No,
the gameplay is
the
awesome.
plot heavily lets the plot of 12 lets it down. Like the fact that you play as Vaughn, and there's like 3 characters that would be better main protagonists than him. You got Ash, who's trying to reclaim her throne. You got Bosch, who's trying to clear his name and defeat his evil twin brother.
Think of Russell Crowe in The Gladiator. That's Bosch right there. I would rather play as him.
Yeah, and then you got Balthier, who's
Han Solo,
who's a he's like a
but
disgraced
with a hot
former
bunny chick instead
judge.
of Chewbacca.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and he's like a disgraced former judge who is trying to stop his mad father from like destroying the world. And then you got Vaughn, who I want to be a sky pirate.
Yeah.
My brother was killed by a Gabranth. Like, you suck.
Every time you
One of
say
my
the
favourite
word
scenes.
Vaughn, it just reminds me of that bit where you're running around a town shouting stuff, like going, "I'm Captain Von Bosch from Ronsenburg," or something like
Oh
that.
yeah, I'm Captain Bosch of von Ronsenburg. Oh god, I hate this. One of my favourite moments in that whole game is because it's established early on that he thinks that Bosch killed Rexus. I think his name was Rexus. And he thinks Bosch killed him because Gabranth is Bosch's twin brother and all that. And you finally meet Bosch, and he's like, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you, and Battlefield just like goes, get the fuck off him, you little brat, and just like pushes him off. And then Bosch just like literally turns around one point later in the game, he goes, well, it was my evil twin brother, and immediately Vaughn's like, okay, that's cool.
Oh, I knew
He's like, that is
fine.
He's like, what? And he's like, I love you, Bosch. And Bosch's like, what the fuck are you? Get off me. Get away from me. It's like, oh, you want to put Vaughn in your party? No. Do you want to be able to win? Then you don't put him in your party. You get someone better. You give Bosch a two-handed sword, and watching literally. When I played through the first time, I got to Bergen. I think it was Bergen. He's one of the really tough judges. I was really struggling in the fight, and then for some reason, Bosch got really annoyed, and then went on like a 12-hit. Critical 10-hit combo streak with his two-handed sword and critted every hit.
Wow.
Huh.
I'm just stood there and watching Bergen's health just go. Ooh. Like, I'm keeping him in my party all the time. You saw that, right, guys? You saw that? He's gonna have the two-handed sword all the time.
Yeah.
I just love to grind in that game. I played the opening and literally just had Vaughn and is it Pinello?
Pinello.
And literally was just leveling them up to like crazy levels at the beginning.
That was the thing I really liked. It was a lot of fun to level in that game because all you had to do is set your gambit system and then analog stick in a twist circle and just watch it happen.
Yeah, and it was fun because I had people complain like, oh, but then it takes the gameplay out. I'm like, no, but then what you're doing is you're going in and you're thinking of, okay, so if there's an enemy like this and I need them to do this, you're still
it's strategy.
You're still like technically, you're still pulling the strings because you can then, because sometimes you'll have a gambit set up and it's like, oh, this doesn't work, turn it off. Oh, this is immune. This is resistant to fire in this, but it's weak against ice. Cool, I'll manually use ice.
Yeah, it's almost like FF13, which I actually really like, but whatever. Yeah, it's okay if you don't. It's okay. I'm not going to fight you on it. I can understand why you wouldn't like it. But I really enjoy playing FF13 because even though people were like, all you do is you mash X to win. But it's like, okay, if you've ever played any Final Fantasies, guess what you're doing? You're always mashing X to win. Play FF8, turn on Ifrit Guardian Force, use Mad Rush, put the controller down, wait for the battle to end. Oh, this is much better. But FF13 has like this really crazy balancing act of making sure you have the right kinds of jobs assigned on the fly in every battle to match what's going on in the battle. So
paradigm shift.
Yeah, paradigm shift. So you're like, oh shit, I'm hurt. 2 medics right now. Right the fuck now. Paradigm shift. Okay, now he's broken. Switch to commandos and ravagers and blow as much damage as possible on that guy. And it's always happening within the moment. So I'm always just like watching and like waiting, and it's really I invest myself into the moment. So it feels really, really good. I don't know why I brought that up, but I do like FF13.
Well, it's really, really good to talk about Final Fantasy, but what I'm thinking we'll do is we'll end the cast now.
Yeah, before we talk about more Final Fantasy. We'll talk about our Final Fantasies.
To this subsidiary of the... It's a subsidiary of the podcast.
Yeah, getting back to Little Nightmares, I've already played it and completed it, but it's going to be good to go back to it and to hear your guys' thoughts on it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't played it before. I remember... seeing a lot of it was getting a lot of hype at one point. It was like, oh, it's literally plays into your fears as a child, and I was watching it thinking, no,
not
really.
I hadn't even heard of it until my friend Joe mentioned it to me. He showed me that video of the kitchen, with the chef.
Yes,
and that was the thing that made me go, okay, when this comes out, I'm probably going to play it because this looks like my kind of thing. Yeah,
I was looking at it going, oh, that looks pretty good. That's pretty good. But it was one of those things that came out. I don't think it's been out that long.
A few months.
It came out this year. It's not been out that long, so I just hadn't got around. It's like there's so much. I keep seeing it. It's always in my recommended list in Amazon. Going, if you like this, you'll like this. I'm like, yeah, I know, but Persona 5 and lots of other games on my Xbox One as well, and I keep buying games that take ages to complete. Yeah. So if this is like quite a short game, then I'm all for that.
Yeah.
I do know that the company I should look it up. I do know the company that made it, Tarsier Studio, worked for DLC. They did build DLC for Little Big Planet 1 and 2, and they made the PS Vita version, and they did Little Big Planet 3 on the PlayStation 4.
I love Little Big Planet.
And they also
saying it out loud.
And they also
I'm going to interrupt you again.
So Oh, it's so good. They also worked on the PS4 version of Tearaway Unfolded, which I haven't played, but I played the Vita version and I really liked Tearaway. It was a really nice little it was a bit gimmicky in terms of where you use like the back touchpad on the Vita, but it was it was useful in terms of gameplay, and it was a cute little game. So they're obviously good at little platforms like that.
Yeah, so this is like them doing their first proper feature for themselves.
Yeah.
As opposed to...
Yeah.
And they did it responsibly, with accurate pricing. And with love and passion, making a collector's edition like right out the gate, when there's really no reason they should have ever done that. But
yeah, except like, what was it? Was it the Order 1886? Which was that big, oh, look how graphically good it looks on the PS4. It looks, so pretty, and it's like 4 hours long.
Yeah.
And it was full price. Yeah. And it has like no replay value.
Yeah.
And probably had a collector's edition as well.
I hate that is one thing that absolutely just it just drives me crazy in the video game industry. And it's like, oh yeah, look how fucking pretty this looks. I'm like, how long is it? when they're so focused on look how pretty it is, like,
right,
that's all you're talking about. You keep saying these things and you barely mention the gameplay. Yeah. They go, it's cover-based shooter. I'm like, but how does it play? Because there are shit cover-based shooters and there's fun cover-based shooters. You were only talking about the graphics. This worries me. It's like, it's 4 hours, no multiplayer. And
you especially get that with launch titles for some reason, because there's nothing else out. It's kind of, we've got to big up everything, even if it's like a kart racer or a puzzle game. It's like the best puzzle game ever.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I'm pretty sure it was originally supposed to be one, but then it came out in like February 2015. It came out like a year or like 2 years after the launch of the console.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, it was funny. Yeah, because PlayStation 4 came out in November of 2013, so it was like a year and a half. Like if it's a launch title, it might have been able to get away with. But yeah, like you're saying, if it's like 2-3 hours and it's clearly not very long, then you should slash the prices.
I mean, you'll increase sales more than likely, because the people on a budget would be more apt to buy a game like that, and it is replayable. I think it's really interesting.
Yeah.
So we should definitely play it soon and cover it in the next podcast.
Gives me an excuse. I'll buy it for the Xbox One, so I'll actually touch that console. It's just gathering dust.
Mine's actually in a storage unit, but it's not because the Xbox One is terrible. It's just because I don't have any time.
The problem is that I've got the Xbox One as well. Is it always seems to be like, even when I try to play it regularly, every time I turn it on, there seems to be some kind of update.
Yeah, occasionally.
And it seems
as someone who plays it all the time, like it is my main console. It's not all the time, but yeah, if you turned it on once a month, you probably always have an update.
Yeah, I mean, but then for some reason, like the games seem to install and download slower than they do on my PlayStation 4, and I don't know why. I don't know why that is. It's so weird. Like an update on my Xbox One, I just know, like, I'm not playing this game tonight then.
Yeah. Yeah, just put it down, go to bed instead, read a book. You don't have to download an update for your book.
Yeah, precisely. Or I could, get my NES out and like, I'm not going to play this. I'm playing it.
I recently it was my birthday recently. I was 30. I don't want to talk about it. But I got an Amazon voucher for my 30th birthday. I'm a man now, by the way. And I spent that Amazon voucher on Metro Redux and Dead Rising 3 for Xbox One. Ooh. So I decided to play Dead Rising 3. I popped it in, started installing it. It was the full Apocalypse edition, so it came with all the DLC. So it started downloading the DLC, it started downloading an update, started downloading, like a patch for the game as well. So like the whole thing's installing. It took about 3 hours all in. Oof. Yeah, so I didn't play it that evening.
It's like, I can't wait to play this.
Yep.
I'm going to bed. Fuck my life. But yeah, so
everybody,
cool.
Make sure you install Little Nightmares between now and next week.
Yeah.
Just make sure you start installing it now if you're on Xbox One, so you can start playing it in a couple of days' time. Everyone got that?
Right, or just do it while you're at work, plug it in, turn it on, go to work, come home, and hopefully by then it won't be like stuck at a confirm screen like, do you want to install the update? And you just forgot to hit X before you left, and you're like, sorry.
Wait, what's that message say? Okay, 98%. Why hasn't it finished? Xbox One lost connection to the...
Super Saiyan.
It flies out the window.
All right.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, everyone
Little Nightmares next time.
Yes. Well, until next time, you guys all have YouTube channels. They're in the links below. We don't need to go into it. I've got a YouTube channel too. Link is below. Some stuff will happen eventually. I guess we've all got life getting in the way at the moment.
Yeah.
I do have something that's going up this week.
Oh, excellent. Make sure you check out for that. There'll be a link in the description below to Matt's channel.
I was actually sent a press code for a game, which absolutely blew me
away.
away.
You mentioned that last time.
Said this.
I was like, oh my god, they sent me a press code. Oh my god, he was like, you don't have to review it, it's fine. It was just like a thanks for, because I just randomly reviewed this indie guys. I randomly reviewed their game like a couple of years ago. Because I was like, this is a fun game, I'm going to do a video on it. And then they shared it around everywhere and kept retweeting it and got loads of views.
Nice.
And then they sent me a press code and they're like, this is a thanks for reviewing that a couple of years ago, cheers. I was like, oh. Played it and I'm enjoying it, so I was sat there thinking, yeah, I'm going to start recording this. So
Yeah.
got all my footage for that, so yeah, I should have something for that up shortly.
Awesome.
Alrighty.
Well, next time
Take
then.
care, everybody. Yep, until next time.
Yes.
Stay cool, stay down, stay alright.
Just stay. Don't move.
Alright.
Yeah, stay exactly where you are. Until next week. Until we return.
You can only move. You can only move when you play the
Yes,
game.
you can only move when you play the game. Alright. See y'all till then.
Goodbye.
Bye. This episode of Spoilers of the Damned was hosted by Axton10_61, Madicus Finch, and Garlips. To find out about us, as well as join the discussion on our Discord, check out all the links in the description below. Please feel free to leave a review or rate us on your podcast app of choice.